Mesdames et messieurs, nous y voici, le dernier jour de compétition ici, à l'EWC sur cette stage. Mesdames et messieurs, c'est les finales du Fortnite Reload Championship!
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Gdynia city grid in the heart of Paris. We've got $1 million on the line and a legacy to forge into the esports World Cup history books.
Évidemment, tout le monde dans cette salle veut voir les équipes européennes, les structures françaises, les joueurs français réussir à performer aujourd'hui. Mais le niveau sur Fortnite n'a jamais été aussi relevé.
20 teams have been shown the door and the remaining 20 will go toe-to-toe until just one is left standing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for your teams as they enter the stage one final time, starting with Skyjump and Mumsy!
Wow.
Muzz and Sphinx!
Hello, hello.
Victor V and Canada! They are
Alright, mic is working, let's go. Canada! Ching ching wong ching! Man, what the fuck? That kid autistic, bro. Out of storm. Yo.
Chino and Pablo Ingu!
Yeah, Chino and Pablo are crazy, bro. Damn.
Can and Fenned, they are SAUL Esports!
Yassine and Salvatore!
What the fuck? Is he Indian?
Dog and Goofy!
Yeah, nah, bro. Nah. OCE sucks, bro. Y'all gonna get dead last, bro. On my life.
And TD! They are Aurora Gaming!
Sharke Antini. Let's go, bro. Yo, why did you why do you think they got fucking aura, bro?
Easy and OC INSO Team Oka!
Yeah, I know understanding français.
Swizzy and Pixie! They are Team Havoc!
Damn, bro, Pixie got like old.
Yamzo, they are Elite Esports!
Yamzo, bro. Yamzo does not want to do this.
Peterbot and Poyo!
Oh.
They are your defending club champions, Team
Oh.
Minipio and Fugo!
Yo, they Asian, bro.
Acorn and Bolts!
Yo, Acorn and Bolts. Didn't they win like last FNCS?
And finally, Gold and Rapid! The Twisted Minds!
What the fuck?
Nous sommes plus de 100 millions de joueurs à jouer à Fortnite. Aujourd'hui, les 40 meilleurs joueurs du monde s'affrontent sur cette scène à l'EWC Paris.
It all comes down to this. The trophy is on the horizon. $1 million on the line. It is time to make history. It is time for the Fortnite Reload Championship Grand Final!
Faites du bruit!
Yo guys, is the audio okay? Do I need to put it louder or? But this is Aura, bro.
The only team I'm looking forward to playing against is Kanata and Victor V. You guys can't hang with me.
Sphinx, he's just a troll, you know.
I'm the best IGL in this lobby, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm the best IGL in this lobby, buddy.
I think we're definitely gonna outplay Sphinx in the finals.
Trying to displace Edson, it doesn't work, but the shot's still there. Vico, somehow, someway.
I think the biggest threat to us and to everyone else is Shark.
I love Vico, bro.
It's gonna be easy. They don't stand a chance.
He almost has nowhere to go. The first shot's gonna come in, the second one's gonna be easy. Shark and Katie win game one.
Yeah, we have this momentum where the other teams have had like a couple of days off and not played.
Yeah.
We're coming after you.
There's a bunch of good teams, but I don't think they'll be able to stop us.
Yo, that's Aura, bro. Now you better get first. I look
Best of luck
I
to
want
everyone. I don't care about the
Peter
other
or
team.
Pollo
If I can
or
grieve someone
Vico and
to finish
Malabuka
after
or
one
Shark and
Trophy
Tini
is
to win.
mine, guaranteed.
If one of those 3 teams win, I'm happy. I'm all rooting for them. I'm rooting for them all.
Welcome everybody to the Esports World Cup 2026, where we have the Fortnite Reload Championship, where $1 million are up for grabs. Taco, these 20 teams have been battling almost all year long for an opportunity to grace this stage.
Yeah, $1 million on the line for the direct Fortnite competition, and even more up for grabs when you factor in the club championship too. So a lot at stake here, and every single one of these players is trying to get the lion's share of it.
Yeah, you got Shark, you got Teeny, Peterbot, Pollo, Sky Scroll, Vico, Malabuka. The list is endless, and everybody has their favorites, their picks to take it all. But it's 350 points to get match point, and then you have to win a game afterwards. So it's not going to be easy, no matter who is looking hot.
We had a small chance to kind of touch on what's been taking place leading up to this moment. We've got our 7 teams that locked in from Group A, and then of course the 7 that came through Group B. But for everybody else,
Hello, your computer has
yesterday's
problem.
survival stage, and only 6 were able to factor in for those final battle bus slots. But it's going to be a very different world now inside of this set lobby.
Yeah, throughout the groups and the survival stages, it was
Peter
essentially just
Pollo.
trying to get as many points as you can. Get within that threshold of top 6 or top 7 just to make it here. Now, it's a little bit of a different ball game because you can reach 4,000 points, but if you don't get that victory royale, it is almost all for nothing. So I'm looking at teams like Shark and Teeny to get the job done. You guys heard that noise. The battle bus is ready. So let's just get right into the action.
Game number 1. Not knowing how many might actually play a part here. A 15-match cap, though, Jacob. While I don't think it's highly likely that we're going to make it through all 15, it is Fortnite Reload after all. And with 20 of the finest teams from all across the world doing their best effort, it is going to be absolute madness in this arena. And for right now, though, we are just going to lock in on the immediate action because for Shark and Teeny, they are just fully honing in on where Josh might be trying to scoop up a little bit of loot that they feel like should belong to them instead.
Yeah, this could be a great 1v1. Shark, who's honestly looking like the next best thing in Fortnite. Josh was coined the future for a while, and already Shark is going to take a bite out of the North American competition by taking down Josh first.
And there's something about the mental games that are already starting to unfold. It might seem like a minute tale at the beginning, but you keep building that up, you keep factoring it in, and it's very easy for things to quickly run away with themselves. Elsewhere, though, Malabuka, Vico also trying to fare focus on isolating any kind of engagements they can pick up early on. Malibuca looking for another, won't be able to take a piece out of Salva just yet. Off the reboot touchdown, but Malibuca Vico, you know they're never going to be content with somebody else outshining them.
Yeah, I think if Malibuca had just a little bit of a better loadout, he might have tried to push in and try to get that elimination. Now might be the case. They might not have enough information. Is he a solo? Does his teammate lurking around here somewhere? We know that to be true on the mini-map, but may not have that information. As we continue to look around, a lot of the teams that have shined here this weekend, Sky and Skrull, AGAL, they're one of two teams playing for more than just themselves this weekend. They're playing for that club championship.
But the question that still remains, after everything that Sky and Skrull had to go through in order to even represent AGAL in these finals, it was just the beginning of the real uphill battle here, because they still have to try and confirm a top 8 position if they want to factor in with those club championship points.
Continue to see
Swizzy's dead, bro.
In another exchange, but Swizzy by himself, he gets kind of 2v1 by Goofy and Z-Dog. And that's what I love about today's competition. Every single region that we have in Fortnite is represented by at least one team. And Goofy and Z-Dog's journey here, it definitely wasn't easy, but they made sure to let the world know that we deserve to be here.
Yeah, and it's also a little bit unfortunate even from Z-Dog and Goofy's perspective, because the game that they did win in yesterday's competition, slightly overshadowed by that crazy clutch performance out of Izzy, but the message has been sent. Goofy and Z-Dog are clearly capable of winning a match, and that is going to be one of the most important metrics for today's competition. Lewa and Romero, though, starting to apply a little bit of pressure. They saw some of the action that was starting to brew and decided they wanted to maybe play a little bit of third-party interception here, so Swizzy, Pixie might have a little bit more space. Doesn't look like Goofy and Z-Dog are all that insistent now on trying to re-aggress when there's other bodies in the area.
But fights are just taken around all across the map. We got Acorn Bolts going against Darm and Demas here. There is some good damage on Acorn. Luckily for him, Bolts is going ahead and alleviating some of that pressure. Both of them getting full HP and shield, relatively so, and now trying to angle out Darm is by himself with a 360. He turns and burns to take down Bolts.
Darm and Demas clearly never stopped after yesterday's competition. What a way to make a debut on the final stage, and Darm definitely feeling very confident after that pickup play, because Bolt, he looked like he was certain that was going to go entirely in his favor. So for it to 180 just like that in a flash, and now putting them on the back foot, putting them in a position to where Bolt and Acorn are going to have to reconsider where they actually want to try and stack up a fight. But Acorn, this might be an ambush.
Yeah, he's just kind of stuck underneath by himself. They may not know necessarily the exact location of Acorn, but with Bolts respawning back in, they know he's floating around somewhere. Sky's going to go down. Muzz and Sphinx kind of sticking to their strategy that got them this far. They go ahead and hold the backside of Elite Armory for that launch pad, but now we jump in. Peterbot is down. A situation that we saw to start the group stages. A lackluster performance out of Team Falcons, but luckily for them, they were able to pick it up as the day went on.
Hey, that walkout might have said everything there for Momsy. He's clearly cooking something, and it looks like chicken might be on the menu tonight. Pollo, never one to give any parades or leniency, so still a bit complicated here for Momsy to actually try and break into the box, but Frenchie's making their best effort to go for the
Pollo's playing that's really good.
But Pollo's still somehow just managing to scramble on out of here.
Yeah, even though Peterbot did spawn once, you see in the feed, he was taken down right away by Jaws, so another 12-second clock has been reset for Pollo. Luckily for him, he did hit a launch pad. He is starting to create distance, but Momsy and Skyjump, they don't want to let him out of their sight. They're just quickly on the chase. And again, you see Peterbot back in the game, but he's having some struggles of his own, so Pollo, again, just needs to continue to buy as much time as possible.
Skyjump and Momsy know their dirty work can be left to the rest of the lobby as far as Pete goes, but they can take out Pollo and continue to leave this duo just incredibly weak throughout the early game.
Oh my
like
God,
that, Momsy's finally going to be able to close things out. Skyjump on the opposing end of things. No real escape path for Pollo. And why not pursue one of the top tier opponents from everyone's point of view, and it's the greatest time to shut them down.
Yeah, and it puts Peterbot in a position that you don't see very often. Forced to hide, forced to wait for Pollo to respawn, and he doesn't have to just wait for Pollo to respawn. He has to make sure he's able to land in the zone and start to loot up before he even feels safe to rotate on out. So we know they're going to have some struggles here early on in this game. Can they come back? It's going to be the big question. But that's what happens when you have so many juggernauts all stacked in the same lobby, just like Vico and Malabuka. They haven't really done much after that first elimination from Malabuka, but they're making sure to stay intact with all of their loot and on.
But hey, Vico Malabuka representing big in this weekend's competition series, the club championship, going to be a big focal point in today's competition. As you can see just how tight it is. 300 points is all that separates Team Falcons from AGAL. And we're talking about a $7 million prize pool if you are in that first place position by the end of the weekend, Jacob. And with how these club results have actually come into play from other titles, this is one of the most crucial finals imaginable currently.
Yeah, and there's even so many spots on that club championship leaderboard to where even Shark and Teeny for Aurora Gaming have a good tournament here. Even if they win it all, they're going to move up that club championship leaderboard. So there's so much pressure on every single duo here today. And Peterbot just doing a good job here staying alive deep into the zone though. So it's not only a matter of how they're going to loot up, how Pollo and him are going to reunite, it's how they're going to make their way there when they finally are set up.
But where are you going to find the opportunity for a bailout? They're going to have to potentially try and get involved with some kind of third-party factor. Pollo even possibly lurking in the box fight that's starting to break out. Khan and Faded in a bit of a pickle
like Peter
here
and
now.
Pollo
They're
just got
fully
grief,
aware of the fact that the rest of the lobby kind of fixating on where they're at. Faded's going to try and use this opportunity while Goofy and Z-Dog are distracted, just trying to keep their walls closed off, don't want to overexpose themselves. They've already got 3 eliminations, so it's a nice little rack up of early points, but we are quickly approaching that 7th zone, and when the reboot shut off, you want to make sure that you are as stacked as you can possibly be, because if you get yourself eliminated at this stage, the recovery point is only going to be that much more difficult.
Yeah, in the 5th zone, you kind of get a pseudo loadout, minis, an AR, an SMG, and in the next zone, you kind of get a little bit more, but no materials and no resources to kind of go along with it, so it's not the spot you want to fall, and that's why you see more and more teams start to box up here, start to play a little bit more of a passive game, because they realize if you make a mistake here, it can cost you the rest of this game. Shark 2 eliminations along with Teeny. A little bit of a slow start here, but that's kind of what we saw in the group stages as well. It wasn't until games 3, games 4, even game 5 where they felt comfortable with the rest of the lobby, we saw them start to frag out.
And that's the thing though, is that there are some elements that we haven't seen since those group stages earlier on. In Group A, it was Shark and Teeny kind of leading the charge in terms of controlling the high ground advantage. And then in Group B, we saw a lot of what was going down between Pixie, but hold that thought, because Pollo, he might need anywhere for Peterbot to show up, but it's just not going to be a chance. Momsy and Skyjo.
No, bro, like Peterbot and Pollo are just getting griefed.
And they just refuse
like,
to stop following this man around the map. It's a great mentality, though, out of Momsy and Skyjump, because, again, we know just how potent Pete and Pollo can be when left to their own devices.
Yeah, this is honestly something we saw exactly out of Cold and Rapid as well. They had some of the most eliminations in the entire set field of everybody playing. Cold was above and beyond everyone else, but they were just unable to really cap it off with a victory royale. So it doesn't matter how aggressive, how many elims you can actually pick up if you can't stamp that victory at the end of it all. As Cammy, Hari positioned underneath. Unlike some of the other teams that we've seen so far, you see 0 points, 0 eliminations, playing more of a passive gameplay. And they know if they have to start getting eliminations to try to close the gap, get closer to match point, they will, but that's when they have to.
Hey, Hari definitely knows how to flag out when
dead.
necessary. Same could be said, though, for Cold. We already witnessed it in 4K during their group stage, just how proactive they really were. But even with that walkout that they had with Zeke, they both kind of highlighted the fact that, hey, we're just going to do what's necessary at the time. If it means playing for big points so we can meet that match point threshold, then that's what we're going to do. But when we need to play for the placement to secure the win and win the tournament, that's also going to be the focus. So it's just not about losing sight of what they know is going to be success.
So you're in the 6th zone, slowly but surely, looking to close. 30 seconds left. That's when reboots will turn off. So you got to make sure you play this one as close to perfect as possible. You see the whole western edge of the map stacked as can be, and even more teams starting to rotate in as Izzy and No-Sip grace us for the first time today, and immediately the crowd goes wild.
Bro, Izzy looks so young, bro.
Relative success, 3 eliminations in total, but they're going to need to hope. I'm assuming that it might be No-Sip holding on to Whites for utility here, maybe Medkits, but they're going to have to find a refresh eventually, Jacob, otherwise, because a little bit late compared to where the rest of the lobby is stacking up. Some teams, though, immediately making the next push forward, not really trying to delay if they don't have to. They don't want to get stuck in any of the congestion. Elite Armory, what makes this map so complicated in terms of rotations is everyone has all these shifting points of elevation to cross over, and we've already just seen Sky getting dropped the moment he tried to make a move. So now ball's fully in Scroll's court, but how far can he actually take it as a solo?
Yeah, 4 players already out of the game. Demas, Sky, you heard Taco talk about that, and then Kanata and Victor V, the first team eliminated out of this game. But it just goes to show, 19 teams still up. Top 15 is when you start to get those placement points, and then 3 points per elimination here. And I think it's very, very important, and that's why you see Vico and Malibuca doing what I'm about to say, is just dodging the entire amount of chaos that is down below. Those launch pads, a huge tool in everyone's arsenal.
Definitely going to be a big point of contention here as C-Dog. Everyone's looking directly at him, and there won't be any opportunity to escape. Shark picks up a nice elimination onto Rapid, so Cold and Rapid. Also, no longer going to be a participant towards this first lobby. Sayonara, but Peterbot and Pollo, not exactly on.
Wait, Peter and Pollo still alive? I thought they died.
This Team Falcons roster to actually build.
Wait, if they win this game, that's actually like so clutch. Because they got griefed in the beginning so badly, bro.
We've seen these guys get the
like,
elims when it
I
matters
swear to God,
most.
if Peter and Pollo win this game, they're just the best.
Need those eliminations that you're talking about just to keep themselves going in the game, let alone continue to perform.
Like, they got griefed so bad.
On the high ground right now, it might not be high up in the
clouds just yet,
but they're starting to elevate their position. It's Shark and Teeny. This is how they got not one, but both of those eliminations on the twisted minds of Cold and Rapid, sending them right back to the lobby here in game number 1, and immediately putting their position to use. Looking down, everybody flying by, shots are landing, damage is connecting, just making it harder for anybody to feel comfortable.
Like the discipline too from Shark, making sure not to lose sight of where Acorn and Bulge were actually have to take them.
Yo. Alright.
Yeah, but I got that feeling of deja vu watching Shark and Teeny on high ground. 4 victory royales. Peterbot tries to go ahead and get an opportunity on an elimination. He gets cut short.
Damn, bro.
Will fall. Faded and Sphinx, 2 different teams inadvertently working together to take down Team
Peter does
Falcons
not
here.
look
They're
happy.
our 3rd team eliminated out of this game, making it a little bit easier for Shark and Teeny.
Damn, Shark.
As Acorn goes down.
Shark and Teeny are just refusing to budge
Damn,
from
both
the high ground
so many good teams just dying. But Shark and Teeny on the high ground also.
The congestion continuing
I'm happy for them.
so heavily in these middle
Wow.
layers.
Chops.
Finally get shot, but
wait, who's looking for heights?
They're not really pressed over using a little bit of that height hold because they'll send it right back upwards, no problem whatsoever, and continue to preserve all of their material.
Yeah, they know other teams are going to try to dodge this portion of the game, maybe land on top, so they want to be one of the last teams up there. Pablo Ingu and Chino, though, they're stuck in the meat in the middle. High ground, low ground teams all around. As the scene actually takes down Scroll. So we got Falcons and AGAL out of game 1 early. Top 15 Taco, which means the placement points are starting to set in.
Minipio and Fukun, these guys are definitely trying to see where
Pixie
they
and Swizzy on the high ground.
Pixie and Swizzy running it back one more time. Very familiar territory, seeing those 2 on height, but Malibuca able with the assistance of Vico to take out
I just want Peter, Pollo, Vico, Malibuca, or Shark and Teeny to win the tournament, bro. Because like those, like they're such good duos.
Still competing with so so
Okay,
many
Fico
open
Malibuco
duos.
still alive.
Yeah, no,
Shark
it's just group
Contini.
stage. Vico Malibuco, they were one
But
of the
Peter
teams
Boyle
that
also
actually
dead,
reached
so.
that 350-point mark. Can they do it here again? And
Is Vico an
immediately planning to
IGL
get
or
the
a
front side of
fragger?
zone, sacrificing a little bit HP, but
I don't
pressure
know.
coming in from all directions. Vico scrambling around, but he's able to hold his ground. Up above, a whole new team on high ground. Those Swizzy and Pixie have turned the tables on Sharkantini.
It's never safe, though. The way that Sharkantini are really just biding their time, but they're going to start to send it. They're already looking to challenge on the high ground. Momsy has a solo, but Shark waiting to come crashing down. Swizzy going to be able to block them all temporarily, and Shark not to be distracted in the slightest.
Damn, Sharkantini got.
But no,
Never mind.
just that moment's notice, that lapse in time. Pixie will be able to overthrow. Chasing down Teeny, just needs the shots to connect. These two are all falling side by side, but Shark and Teeny managed
bro, this
to
is some
hold on
crazy
just a moment
shit.
longer.
The second chop comes in, the Flowberry Fizz just in the nick of time to keep themselves elevated up above most. Top 8 situation, at least 3 players down below are feeling the pressure as a solo. So for Swizzy and Pixie, they gotta make that crucial decision. Is high ground worth contesting again, or do you have to look down below? Vico and Malibuco are down there, they're trying to run wild, but they get cut short. 0 build, 0 chance.
Shark now, the ultimate agent of chaos. He's gonna go ahead, pick up the body loot off of Romero,
Wow.
but it's his last steps forward. Pixie and Swizzy hidden underneath everything. They've managed
not even gonna lie, bro. I
overtake
think
the
Pixie and
front side of
Swizzy win
ultimate
this.
low ground. Looking back, Goofy's
Yeah.
eventually gonna have to get
Pixie and
one step
Swizzy win
closer
this,
to where
bro.
these two are at, and Pixie just lying in the way.
They are the only duo left in this game. Playwa, we saw what he's made of throughout the group stages. Can he do it again? Yes,
Holy shit,
he
wait.
can. Down goes Muggs, but he's in a hard
If this guy
position
wins
here.
it?
1v2, Swizzy, Pixie, they're
No
now
way.
just putting full pressure down onto him to get the elimination. And get
Pixie and
the
Swizzy with the
game-1
first
win.
game win.
What an opening statement out of Pixie and Swizzy. That battle for the high ground ultimately ended up determining who was going to fare and be the healthiest by the time they both needed to drop. Shark and Teeny gave it their best effort, but it's good to see that Swizzy and Pixie clearly have the same intentions.
I mean, when it comes to battling out against the best in the world in person at these type of events, Swizzy knows how to get the job done, and he does it here along with Pixie by his side. These guys have to be feeling great. They have a good point cushion, you got to imagine, over the rest of the lobby, and they already have the blueprint of how to secure a win.
And solid elimination points too coming out of the pair, but was also very impressed by what Lewa was able to accomplish even as a solo. Romero going down a bit sooner, but Lewa did not let it deter him in the least amount, because Lewa and Romero, you have to remember, these two are coming in fresh from their qualifier regions, back-to-back wins, so very obviously very competent when it comes to the reload playstyle, and they just continue to adapt to every kind of competitive meta thrown their way.
And that's something that I feel like every team is going to need, the ability to adapt. We saw Shark and Teeny on the high ground throughout a good portion of the end game, of those moving
Vega
zones.
does
They
not
actually
look
decided
happy,
to
bro.
give it
He's
up.
like
They
locked in.
launch padded into the air with that Flowberry Fizz. Swizzy and Pixie say, you know what, you don't want it, we will take it. And from there on out, it was almost impossible
Bro,
for Shark
Peter
and
Bot
Teeny to get
needs
back
the
up to the high
shade,
ground,
bro.
which made it easy for Swizzy and Pixie to kind of close out the game. And when they realized they were the only duo left, you kind of saw them drop to the low ground. They took the front side of the zone, realizing, hey, it's all solos left. They can't hang with us.
I feel like Peter Bot is just so much older
collecting
than he like
eliminations
used
the
to
way that
be.
he just did. We might be looking at
Peter
a
Bot
very
looks like 25.
interesting match point threshold soon enough, but
They're gonna fight,
never expect that anything is going to be given for free. Love to see, though, a little bit of a baseline
Jump up, jump up. It's only solos, only solos. Okay, jump up. Yeah. Hello. He's at 30. Crack, he's cracked. Dead. Come on, bro.
Not too much of a celebration because they know the job is not done yet, but they're making sure to kind of leave a little bit of hype left in there to make sure that they keep them spirits high. That was a good win, a good way to start off the day, but you kind of saw there, Lewa and Ramiro, even though he was by himself, they had similar eliminations, so I don't think the point is that drastic.
Right, but obviously we still got plenty more reload action still to come, so guys, don't head anywhere because we'll be back very shortly.
Josh Riley. I thought Josh Riley was white. Like before he did his face reveal, I thought he was white. Like he sounded white.
Play is in our
What
DNA.
the fuck? Yo.
Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower.
Is this an ad? Yeah.
Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by play.
Okay. Can I skip this? I'm not gonna let y'all watch ads.
لعيب يلا نايس I'm warning. Yeah. It's right. I'll give you ammo. Give you ammo. Yeah. Spray. It's right here. One. Yeah. You go down? Yeah, come. I'll pop inside.
Okay, ich hab 0. Willst du nochmal?
Pass auf.
Ja?
Runter, oder?
Spray.
Es ist ein Duo, oder?
Ja.
Nein, Solo. Input.
Du, ich bin's.
Spray.
Come on! Let's go!
Yo.
Place au-dessus. G. Nice.
Holy bro. Why does OD look like that one guy? You know that one guy? I think he's Russian. Like I don't know.
Nice! Let's go! Nice! No grazie.
Okay.
それがその、ちょめつなる。降りれ。ショックしかせーの。あ、違う、止めよう、それ。
大丈夫。
やった
はい。100やったもう。いいな、俺。
さあ、50?
Nice!
Let's go!
Welcome back, Fortnite fans, to the Reload Elite Series Finals here at EWC. Joining me, we got Monster D-Face and Levin 2K, and we just
Bro,
wrapped
that guy's
up
like
game
4
number
foot.
1 of the finals. And what incredible stories we already got out of game number 1, Monster.
Can I just say, NA?
Bro, Levin is a fucking
unfortunately
like
sad to say,
beast,
watching
bro. He's like 7 feet
what
tall.
should be best teams getting dropped so early was definitely a letdown. But other than that, Levin, I'm sure you got a lot to say about EU.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, there was a lot of EU teams that did great there. We had a bunch of, we had obviously Lewa popping off towards the end there. We had Goofy popping off towards the end. We had a bunch of, teams from different regions having a great time. And, the NA players are still eating breakfast at the hotel. I mean, it's fine. It's a great start to the day. Honestly, though, what a first game that was.
Yeah.
I was so excited coming into this competition, knowing we were going to have this format where we would eliminate a bunch of the teams who maybe aren't quite up to the stuff, just because it would mean we'd have a 20-team lobby with just the best players in the world, and we truly saw that in this first game.
Swizzy and
Bot is not
Pixie
in the
grabbing
top
the first
10.
victory royale and a handful of eliminations, and they
Like, he
honestly
did get
had
grief,
that in
like,
such a
really
commanding
bad,
lead,
but, like...
taking height around zone 10 and then being able to control it. But we have to talk about that height fight. Levin, Swizzy versus Shark, and that fight for height lasted so long.
I mean, yeah, guys, can you give it up, please? Like, oh my goodness, Sharkantini must have been absolutely fuming because Pixie did not want to drop. He just kept going for it.
Damn, Peter and
I think that's
Boyle
going to be the two teams
18.
we see battling on height.
And
Most
Cold
of
and
today,
Rapid
both of those
19.
teams desperately love to play on EU.
Really interesting to see how we are playing this reload format, but again, that win condition taking its toll very early. The fact that a team like Pixie and Swizzy wanted to go ahead and
Like, how did
establish
Kanata and
themselves
Dingy
as a
die?
high ground team
Kanata
here
and
for the
Victor.
evening, I think is a
Did they
telling
die on
time
spawn,
for
or?
what's to come. But of course, it's the bigger picture. What's on the line here? AGAL coming up a little bit short, Sky and Scroll falling there. All of a sudden, the narrative for Falcons as well. The huge upset of Peterbot and Boyo not going the dip.
Oh, crap.
Interesting here, Kelly.
I love that you bring up Sky and Scroll because we did see Scroll a solo, and that seems to be the story time and time again. We saw it during the group stages, we saw it during the survival stages, but frequently they make it into the end game as a solo player. And Levin, if they want to make these points, if they want to make it into the final places, then they're going to have to go into this end game as a whole team.
No, absolutely. I mean, It's funny, looking at that leaderboard with Pixie and Swizzy in first place, obviously they didn't retain height, they ended up dropping off and it still worked out for them. I sort of made the joke in between that. If I'm Vitality, I'm probably thinking, I wish we would have picked those guys to represent us, right? Instead of letting them stick to the Havoc side of things. Either way, they have two great duos in there, but Swizzy and Pixie clearly gone under the radar a bit, right? As far as the teams we've been bigging up, hyping up so far today, showcasing why they're two of the best players in the world.
And then the audacity to continue to push it and
2
fight it
minutes.
regardless of what it's going to cost them there in the end. And then Muzz and Sphinx, though, do obviously come out, perform very well, and earning themselves a good amount of points. I think a little bit of a sleeper team. Muzz has been continuously winning, kind of establishing himself. I think the confidence is definitely
When are people going to wake up? Muzz and Sphinx has been doing this. Muzz was doing this in the Major 2 as well. He did it at the start of Group A. Muzz and Sphinx have not been laying down easily, man. They want to prove to everyone that they're here at the top, and Muzz as a solo player was absolutely dominating, so that is exactly what I love to see. Speaking of domination, we're talking about the end game, but I do want to talk about our two French teams dominating the start of the game. Obviously, Izzy and Noseb and Momsy and Skyjump just had so many good early eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, playing into the crowd, I think a lot of the time, you don't really know when you're at these lands, like, who are the crowd cheering for? I've seen players that say, I've asked players that, like, when you hear the crowd, like, through your headset, do you ever know what's going on? A lot of the times they're like, nah. These two French duos know when the crowd is loud, it's because of what we are doing in the game right now. And using that in your early aggression, your early fights, pushing, not caring. I can't believe we saw Momsy, Skyjump. They're farming Poyo. Poyo's been like the best player in the world this year, and they're just making him look like a chump.
And I want to say one thing. I think they got the land buff going on here. You know, just coming up out of nowhere. I'm like, hey, wait a second. You got to be well-rested, feeling good. That little bit of boost and confidence, knowing that the crowd's got your back, I think is showing here.
And we mentioned them just a little bit earlier, but I do want to speak on, again, Lua making it into second place right there. Lua and Romero have had a great performance all weekend, but to get in game number 1, Monster, and to get second place against the likes of Swizzy and Pixie, that's a pretty big step.
The sleeper team, again, wasn't on my radar in particular, but the group stages, they showed that they could ball.
Lua and Romero are a perfect example of why I've been saying we got to stop calling Brazil a smaller region team. They're not smaller, they're just a region, you know? They're just there, you know what I mean? Like, we can't keep calling these a smaller region when, one, obviously, we know they have so much talent, but now their talent finally showing up on these stages. It's great to see.
Yeah.
All right, 1 game down, and I was going to say 9 more to go, but we actually don't know because this is match point, everyone. We've already seen some high elimination games, but obviously we still got so many more to go. So in these following games, while we're still playing in Elite Stronghold, what do you want to see out of these next few games?
I want to see more in the early game. We didn't see the hot drop, the fast starts that we expected. Remember, it's a race to 350 at the end of the day, so I want to see teams really fight and push to get there.
Yeah, no, honestly, I do want to see a bit of a redemption for some of the top NA teams.
I would love to see
right, they were a team that in their group absolutely blew the competition away. I want to see them find their footing in this competition and really start to push their way to the top.
Yeah, Cold and Rapid, definitely a high elimination team, having some of the best damage ratios in the world, and representing Twisted Minds. I definitely think we all expected a little bit more of them, but that was just game number 1. A lot of these teams haven't been able to compete against each other in a set lobby, so obviously there's definitely going to be some growing pains, some learning, and with it just being game 1, number 1, Monster, I think there's still so much more to go for our NA teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're off to a slow start. The practice games are looking extremely promising, though. I even had, you know, to go and give shouts to Peterbot and Boyo stepping up there. You know, I believe the group stage B, we didn't get those exact warm-up rounds that the players might have been looking for, but I think they're coming in pretty hot. And at the end of the day, hey, it's game 1, water under the bridge, as they say, dirt under the rug. I'm gonna go and do that one, just to kind of toss it in there.
All right, everyone, that was just game number 1. Swizzy Pixie coming out on top, but of course we still have so many more games to go. Who's going to come out on top? We're going to have to find out right after this.
Luti, we are 1 map in. Yeah. What a start to the day. That was probably our best opening in.
Crazy for every team. I mean, the French audience, it is really something, you know?
Yeah, the French audience is incredible. You guys are amazing, but of course, we also have audience from all over the world.
Yeah.
Audience from like Asia, South America.
Yeah.
And speaking of South America, speaking of LATAM,
it is
this incredible region, it's Leviathan.
They have this?
They're incredible dragon here. Lucas, let's have a very quick chat, my friend. Look, what's the experience been like so far at EWC for you guys, for Leviathan?
It's been insane, to be honest. We came here with RQ fans, so overall this crowd is amazing. I love France, so insane.
we'll talk a bit more specifically about Fortnite as well. The boys are on stage. They came second in that last map. Now, how proud are you guys of seeing them perform this well in the final?
Nah, they are really young. I'm really proud. Obviously, it's really hard to play a LAN event, so I hope we keep this path and hopefully get a win.
If those of you at home have a keen eye as well, you might also remember this face because you actually competed in the Fortnite World Cup all those years ago. How was that experience?
It was really good. I got to coach my player, which was Prisionero back in the day. So hopefully he sees this and he remembers. And we also played against Buga, so hopefully he doesn't win this time.
Okay. If you, just before I let you go, if you could say anything, words of encouragement for the boys competing for Leo and Romero right now, what would you say to them?
I think it's all about confidence. I think this crowd will support them, hopefully. So, vamos Leviathan!
There we go. That's Leviathan right here on the main stage. The Gadir City Grid has got so much more Fortnite action to come. So, casters, over to you.
Mesdames et messieurs, faites du bruit!
So much love all across the board. You absolutely love to see it, but one thing that is impossible to ignore for sure, Jacob, is the amount of French love overall. It is just emitting every single time we see either of our French duos on the screen. So obviously also want to give a huge shout out to Leo, because you know he's been going ballistic all weekend watching Izzy and Nassim, Skyjump and Monty, and it's got to be a fantastic sensation understanding being here on site, seeing everyone come together for these moments, and knowing that that was just the first game of many still to come.
Yeah, just kind of watching him watch the Izzy clutch was absolutely insane. I felt like he felt very similar like I did, and that was just out of breath, amazed as can be. Can they keep it up though? That's going to be the biggest question here. Swizzy and Pixie come off a game 1 victory royale, 78 points throughout the course of that game. Lewan Romero, they were actually tied point for point, and eventually they lost that game. 13 points, 10 for the win, 3 for the elimination, went on over the team from Havoc. So it still could be anyone's game. If you look at the leaderboard, it is as close as can be as we drop straight into game 2. Chino is going to be the first one going trap. On is going to be the one getting the elimination here over towards Elite Armory.
Hey, Sky Scroll, they're not trying to have a similar fate. They want to ensure that they're able to actually duke things out and pull up with a little bit of success here at Elite Armory. They'll definitely be taking their time though. AGAL, Team Falcons, both just kind of onlookers towards that last lobby. But even if the first game doesn't shake out the way you would have wanted it to go, Sky and Scroll still have ample potential in terms of turning things around at a heartbeat. So just have to wait and see how things continue to develop, because everywhere else on the map, NA maybe trying to get a little bit more presence in this early game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be needed. We had 3 of the North American Central teams go down so early in that last game. But to start this one, I feel like maybe they've turned it around. Peterbot took down Teeny, he respawned. Rapid took down Teeny, kind of keeping him on a little bit of a cycle. But our game 1 winners now find themselves over towards Chisel Cube, getting pushed by, it looks like, Z-Dog and Goofy. They have a good loadout to be able to fight back. It's just about if they want to this early.
Hey, I respected those Z-Dog and Goofy trying to strike while the iron's still hot. We're looking at 2 teams in the top 3 trying to do exactly what Malabuka just accomplished, hoping to secure those eliminations early on. If they can claim all of Chiseled Cubes, it would just give them all the more time to keep looking for those reboot farm opportunities. But Swizzy Pixie, obviously very similar mindset. They're going to continue to lurk about and not make things easy for Goofy. Spookoon could also potentially start to thwart the game plan. Building up here, but Mini Pio immediately punished. He had no idea what he was walking into.
Yeah, literally dodged, flying out of the sky. Goofy, Z-Dog, he's like, let me go underneath. Nope, a whole nother team down there as well. As Romero keeps the hot streak from that last game alive, taking down Malabuka, separated him from Vico. That's their 2nd elimination of this game. And you don't necessarily need to drop 10, 20 eliminations, but you need to keep yourself hyped up and ready to go.
For Leon Romero, too, you have to remember, they were one of our first 7 teams to actually break through towards the final stage. They've had the past couple of days to just pod, review, gauge what everyone else's success metric is actually looking like. And still, they were fully understanding we might be contested the entire time, especially after AGAL Sky and Scroll made it through. But for Pixie Swizzy,
I actually want Pixie and
still
Swizzy to
continuing
die,
to
bro.
stack up here at Chisel Cubes, and Swizzy's going to be taken out. So now Pixie, he's just got to hope that he doesn't meet the fate in a similar fashion here. But Goofy, Z-Dog, they fully understand. If we can take out number 1 right now, that's going to cut the door wide open. And Swizzy, Pixie, they'll have to wait and see what happens next.
The nature of the beast that is the Fortnite Reload Championship. Chisel Cube just getting more and more active here with Mini Pio and Fukun kind of taking the bottom part, forcing everybody down below. A little bit of distraction definitely helps the case. On the other side of the map, this is still Elite Armory. Sky and Scroll from AGAL trying to go up against Muzz and Sphinx. Again, Muzz and Sphinx, I think they got a top 3 in that last game, and with Muzz by himself, Sphinx has just got eliminated. He needs to buy at least 12 seconds of time.
Sky even popping up for a moment there, trying to see whether or not he was actually going to be able to successfully cut off Muzz, but it looks like Muzz will survive just long enough. But is it really a win after all? Sphinx might have just touched down, but they are just so far and away from being able to escape the clutches of the lobby.
Alright, Kanata and Victor are still alive. Okay, no.
That reboot signal is just going to be a honing beacon for everyone else to start aiming their sights towards looking for those freebie eliminations against a weakened player.
Seeing how they kind of bounce back from this. This was what did it, and Peterpot actually dropped up from above, distracting Goofy for a moment, and they still ended up getting those elimination onto Swizzy and Pixie. Team from Leviathan just trying to base up, get the drop. Muzz just trying to get back in the game. Doesn't really have much for a loadout, especially when you're going up against Sky and Scroll, who pick up their 3rd elimination of the game. And this is just one thing to note. Even though they failed to make it out of their group stage, and they kind of cut it close in the survival stage, this now, when it comes to this week of action, is one of the most practiced teams that we have in this lobby.
It's just so difficult to actually find that consistency metric, and you wouldn't expect that from a team like Sky and Scroll, who scream consistency when it comes to the standard Battle Royale game mode. But here in Reload, because of how stacked a lot of these endgame lobbies tend to be, because of the fact that we're not seeing elimination or placement points actually factor in until right around that 10th, 11th zone time frame, it is so volatile trying to control that frontside low position that they are notorious for holding down. And it doesn't help when you've got teams like Shark and Teeny, Sky and Scroll also just constantly putting pressure from the high ground.
Yeah, and you can kind of see in the mini-map there, Elite Armory down low towards the bottom. That lone little gray arrow, well, that's Sphinx. You look a bit lower towards the northeast, right kind of next to that green arrow, that's Muzz. They're just so far separated as of now. There's going to be almost no chance, or at least relatively soon, for them to get back together. But near them as well is Izzy and Nosif. You can kind of see their loadout right now, really leaning heavy into the Flowberry Fizz. They do have some launch pads towards the back, so they want to make sure they dodge one of the most chaotic portions of the game, so that when they finally make it in towards the zone, it's a little bit safer than what it is right now.
But when everyone's looking up, probably one of the only positives currently is knowing that Swizzy and Pixie are already fully eliminated. So in terms of high ground teams that are going to be prioritized in that position, you're largely just looking at Shark and Teeny and whoever else might decide to throw their names into the hat. Pete and Pollo, though, definitely not off to the hot start that probably most would have expected them to have already come across, and even a little reminiscent of past tournament series, right? Where we see Pete going in all out aggression and then getting put down into the dirt. There's a big mental game behind that.
Yeah, especially when you even kind of add in this weekend 2 games that they played to start off their group stages. I believe 19th and 18th with a singular elimination. A very slow start before they started to look like themselves. Game 1, very, very similar here. Game 2, hopefully they can come back for it. Acorn and Bolts as well. You would think they would have a lot more momentum during their qualification process just to make it to the group stages of EWC. They weren't the most high elimination duo that we did have around. They played more towards consistency. They played more towards strategy, and I hope that they're going to pick that up here.
Just after everything that we witnessed, Bolts especially getting up to inside of that Major 2 finals here in Reload, you have to imagine that all of that fragger potential, he really starts to come alive when it matters most. And anytime you have players that seemingly get more and more locked in as competitive stakes become even crazier, I just think that they're always going to be dangerous. It's always going to be problematic because you never know when they might just go absolutely crazy with it and just run away with a big placement, big elimination round.
You're kind of seeing more and more teams on the outskirts of the map, kind of holding down those launch pads with eliminations, without eliminations. You see Pablo and Gu take that launch pad, just scouting, getting that eagle eye, seeing what teams are nearby, what players, what positions even that we might have to watch out for. Probably spotting out not too much. They're going to go ahead and reassess the situation. 5th zone as of now, and this is exactly why they're doing that. Reboots are going to turn off in that 7th zone, so they don't want to put themselves into too risky of a situation too early on.
And hey, even for Vitality's Pablo and Chino, just drawing things back towards those club championship points, Jacob. Vitality is currently sitting in 3rd place position overall. To ensure that they remain there, a big performance out of Pablo and Chino to really solidify their position and not lose a good chunk of the prize pool money that's at stake here this weekend. There's definitely tons of pressure on their shoulders, and it's a very similar fashion too for Cold and Rapid, because Twisted Minds, if they witness Cold and Rapid come up big time in this tournament series today, that could be a crazy jump up the leaderboard for the EWC standings.
Huge chance to get back just by winning a tournament. Everyone wins in that situation. Vico, Malabuka, we saw a couple struggles early on in this game going down, but they picked themselves up, dust themselves off, got right back into position. And that's the thing about the Elite Strongholds map in general, Tacos. There's so many different mountain ranges, so many different edges, so many different elevation changes that you have to be very, very cognizant of where the zone is pulling at any given time. Because if you find yourself without a build, getting caught off guard, the elevation changes, I kind of wish you good luck.
Vico and Malabuka, though, seemingly able to avoid a good chunk of those problems. They are rather safe in their current position, but it's all about the next move. Everyone else kind of waiting to see who these last couple of straggler teams are going to be, but it is just never easy to actually cut across and find any kind of distance. Everyone just eventually going to have to get up close and personal, but we do just have the majority of the lobby still standing, even with that 7th zone approaching. And by that point, reboots will turn off, and we'll see whether or not Pete and Pollo are going to be able to start coming online.
Yeah, and I'm just crossing my fingers. I'm looking at that mini map right now, and I'm crossing my fingers for the entirety of the lobby that we do not go west into chiseled cubes. That elevation change will be drastic, almost a roller coaster of emotions these teams will be going into. But less than 15 seconds, reboots will turn off, and any chance to respawn back into this game goes right out the window. Kind of seeing where teams are positioned. Decent amount of space between most of them, but where the zone actually is going to be telling all the way towards the north. So Taco, a good chunk of the team's getting a max pool.
Cocoon and Minipio, though, could be in a slightly more favorable spot. They're not going to waste any time, though. They're going to immediately start to make their move. Sky and Scroll, 3 eliminations still on the board. So they managed to rack up just a little bit to work with here. But in comparison to a duo like Lewa and Romero, who have realistically got a very strong loadout for taking out teams that might cross their path. Pete Pollo, a little bit injured, getting very focused right now by Chino and Pablo. Pollo just narrowly escapes them, but then runs straight into where Mini Pia's focus lines are setting up, and just like that, Pete's all by himself.
Yeah, not sure how they got separated in the first place. We saw Pete trying to look over the top, cover fire, but there's just too many players in this lobby to watch them all. And you're seeing him try to reconnect, make sure a chop doesn't come through. He's already inside of the zone, so that's not necessarily one of his worries about picking up those eliminations, trying to catch up to the point total, just like Sky and Scroll, 3 eliminations, 9 points up until this stage in the game so far. Definitely a good jump from what they needed. We're talking about Pete, Pollo, Cold, Rapid all going down early. They were another one of the teams that fell relatively early in that last game, and they got a huge points to make up.
But look at how isolated Shark and Teeny currently are from the rest of the lobby. They've managed to avoid practically all of the congestion. They haven't fully committed to all the way going up on elevation, but the way that they're just so tucked and hidden, Jacob, once they utilize this Flowberry Fizz and Launchpad, they're going to continue to be able to preserve most of their material, but they do need to make sure that they don't get taken out before they actually make that move.
Yeah, the position looking a little too good. Dart Demon said, hey, we'll take it. Josh Yamzo said, we'll take it as well. Zone is opening up. But you got to be careful not to go too far down. It goes right back up the side of the mountain. So if you don't have builds, if you don't have mobility, you might want to second guess positioning yourself there. Shark and Teeny looking out, Cold and Rapid as well. Just trying to get that bird's eye view, figuring out where teams are rotating to before they themselves are forced to shockwave out.
Nothing worse than seeing Muzz get flipped the moment that he tries to head towards that front side of zone. Cold and Rapid, though. Goofy, Z-Dog, other teams that are managing to continue to keep it rolling, but even on this ultimate frontside position, Goofy and Z-Dog know that they're eventually going to have to tango.
No, stop touching Peterbot, bro. Stop touching.
Their best opportunity for a little bit of a refresh. He just only has himself to work with.
Oh, 2 big pots, no metal, only
That's
brick.
just not going to be enough. You're going to run out of that so fast as a solo.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the lack of materials. 500 would might seem like a lot, but as a solo, in a reload, it definitely is not. Kanata, Victor V, Shark, Teeny, so many players using their launch pads. Peterbot actually does find a key elimination on the con. It's only going to be hit by himself, so Fade is still in this one, trying to keep themselves alive as he shockwaves out, tries to reposition on the front side of the zone. Taco, 2 medkits, big pots. He has everything he needs to get up to fighting shape.
Hey, as long as he has a chance to actually utilize one of those medkits, we might be looking at a whole different ball game here. But for right now, Shark and
Peterbot wins this, bro.
Similar fashion to the last lobby, they're going to head straight towards the high ground. Teeny already making sure to overtake that top end layer. A good connection here is going to help them hold strong, and the RPGs too. Teeny is just posing so many issues for everybody stuck underneath.
Yeah, making sure to reconnect, fortify their position up above. Zone is pulling far, so all it takes is one team to look up and start to create some havoc. But Vito and Malabuka have their hands full in that mid layer. Looking to the head side of the zone, see Sky, see Scroll. You see so many teams, but they're just trying to formulate the strategy. How do we want to play this? Crash Pad or Shockwave? They choose the first of the two, make their way to the front and reposition themselves again. But look at the distance that Shark and Teeny have built so high in the sky.
And that's the problem for Biko and Malabuka. The moment that they try to navigate towards that front side, they're immediately getting pieced up by height. Teeny, though, losing a good chunk of his HP because Z-Dog's decided he wants to try and take it for himself. The land down under no longer headed straight for the high ground. Yasin and Salvatore going to fall. Biko now left in dire straits here. Malabuka trying to see what he can collect, but Shark and Teeny have managed to push back against Oceana.
Everybody down below is being ripped apart from their duos. We're barely into the top 15.
Acorn, Dom,
they're dropping like flies as of now. 12 teams still in the game. Peterbot being one of them. We talked about yesterday the 2 group stages. A slow start to their race, but they are definitely picking up the pace as of now. But he is out of builds, almost hoping for a miracle to keep himself alive, and it's not going to be granted.
Instead, all he's going to get is Shark delivering rocket after rocket from the high ground. Malabuka also trying to see if he could conceal his position just a couple seconds longer.
I think Cold and Rapid win this game. Kanata's dead. Okay, yeah.
Exactly what they're capable of.
Is Malabuka solo clutch?
deliver.
Never mind.
Malabuka needs to connect a shot.
Wait.
Gets one onto Victor V, but it's not the knock. It's not the elimination he needs. Somebody else steals it away instead, and that's going to be AGAL, Sky and Scroll.
Even Momsy getting
Sky and
elimination
Scroll
here,
or
but 6
Cold and
here
Rapid
for
win this.
Sky and Scroll. AGAL, a slow start to their day. 0 points
Rapid
in game
dies.
number 1, and they are putting on a show here, just like Cold. 7 HP. We know what this man is capable of in some of the biggest moments in his career, but he's still going up against duo after duo.
Dead.
In fact, he's the only solo left alive.
And Sky and
Wait,
Scroll are now
Cold
making it
kills.
easy.
Oh my
They
god.
find Cold, and just like that, it'll be the end of the run here for Twisted Minds. But Sky Scroll, they're not finished. They're continuing to clash. Cami Hari might just be next, but it's the front side position. Shark and TD know it. That's going to be their next plan
Shark
of
and
attack.
TD winning
Shark's
this,
gonna
bro.
begin to descend. He's ready to drop down. Sky has no idea.
Wow.
And just like that, Shark finds his first onto Sky. Scroll, what are you gonna do?
Stay out of these waters. This is Shark's territory. Now it's a 2v1. Momsy goes down. The aura is real for
Good
Team
shit.
Aurora Gaming. Shark and Teeny steal game 2.
Shark and Teeny just are so cool, calm, and collected every step of the way. For a moment, it looked like Z-Dog and Goofy were going to be able to strip away that high ground advantage, but then they just lose out on the battle entirely. And Shark and Teeny, they just fully understand Elite Stronghold, that we can maintain this elevated position while everyone else is forced to burn through all of their materials underneath us because of these elevation shifts. That just makes it all too easy to finish the job.
Yep, 4 victory royales in the group stages for them. They took high ground more times than that. Game 1, they went for it. It didn't work out. Game 2, they go for it again, and they have secured the victory royale, taking out some tough competition all along the way, eventually getting that final elimination onto Momsy, shooting themselves up that leaderboard for sure.
I'm just thinking about those club championship points right now.
I'm gonna leave and rejoin.
Every group stage and every tournament. Complete daily and weekly challenges to earn boosters that help you climb the global leaderboard. Got what it takes? Join EWC Play now.
Okay, it's the end of the game now. We just gotta play it safe.
But wait, there's so much loot over there.
Do not go for it.
They probably rotated.
Player eliminated.
What was that?
Sorry, next time I'll be better.
That's okay. Wait, next time?
Player eliminated.
Okay, stop now. Which ones are...
Player eliminated.
Oh.
Respawns no longer available.
Why?
Oh man, we are back at it again. EWC, you guys got to make some noise for game number 2 out there. What a phenomenal start, but I think the biggest talking point out of that game was Swizzy Pixie, man. They had that early fall, which meant everyone else in the lobby could really start to catch up.
And you know what? They had a lot to live up for. Starting a game off with a win is the way you want to enter into your tournament, but the pressure begins when that leaderboard number starts to add up and you have to continue the momentum. A lot of teams actually stepped up comparatively to their game one performances. One that clearly took it a little bit further was Shark and Teeny.
Dude, Shark and Teeny, we saw it back in Group A right there, just right here. They had themselves so many victory royales on the day. And what's crazy, remember, we're on match point. Yeah. A team just needs to hit 350 points and then get themselves a victory royale. We've seen them do that already too many times.
I mean, Zeke, are you keeping count? I think I'm at like 5 LAN wins for Shark and Teeny if you count his group stage performances. I mean, clearly they proved something that they're looking to continue that momentum into the finals lobby. I didn't expect it, given this set lobby is, you know, a couple notches above the rest. However, they are performing very well. It's looking very good. And then you even have, again, some of those other teams now starting to enter into the conversation. Sky and Scroll, a very slow start, if you will. But hey, that game 2 performance, huge end game, is going to be very nice for their overall standing.
Yeah, and remember, we're going to continue to play out the game's match point. It could end, or go as far as 15 games, could end sooner. And don't forget, we're also on Elite Stronghold, right? Eventually, we are going to look to shake up, go to Slurp Rush. There's so many factors at play here, game to game. You see what else is going around right now at EWC.
Well, this is it. Game number 3 coming up. Unfortunately for the moment, you just got me. As you just saw Monster on the screen, he's going to be coming up very shortly. But how incredible were those first 2 games? So many surprises here for the finals of the Esports World Cup Fortnite Reload Championship. Shark and Teeny leading the way currently with 117 total points. Not a great start for NA. I'll talk to Monster about that when he comes up. But my goodness. Shark and Teeny, what a performance in that last game. Picking up the victory royale. Sky and Scroll getting back in the mix as well. Skyjump and Momsy making it really far into that end game as well. And it all comes down to this. The final day. When will it end? Who will take it? At the end of the day, Swizzy and Pixie, the guys just broke down. Not the greatest start to that last match from those guys. Nice to see Cold and Rapid actually making it into that end game there as well. And they needed a little bit of a solo clutch from Peterbot to get some points on the board as well after a very slow start. Mini Miner and now finally Monster D-Face here casting the next 2 games for you guys. I wanted to mention Monster with NA. Not really looking too hot right now. I'm looking on down the leaderboard. Josh and Iomzo, the highest place in NA team, in 10th right now. What's going on?
Well, I appreciate you giving me a second to run up here. I'm slightly out of breath. I need you to give our NA teams a second as well, because they have been off to the slowest of starts. I mean, I was just on the stage with the interview. I was able to look over to my right and see Peterbot and Boyo, and they are looking pretty down and out, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Their energy right now, you can just tell they are frustrated with that game 1 performance. I think game 2 was a little bit better, but Peterbot had the solo clutch.
Yeah,
Boyo, not how you want to play it out.
No, and Levin spoke about it at the beginning of the day, where it was like he wanted to see Peterbot actually stepping up to the plate. We saw at the summit, Poyo getting so many of those solo clutches. Need to see more from that duo. A lot of people would have said that is the other team to beat. Of course, one of them, Sky and Shark and Teeny, fighting up against Rapid right now. This is a big battle up here. And unfortunately here, Shark does go down for them. So Rapid and Cold win out this fight. Nicer game from them, that last one. They actually made it into that end game. Much more of a solid performance. And I think we expect big things based on their group's domination.
Yeah, that last game was a full circle moment as well, because in game 1, it was Muzz and Sphinx that took them down, but they repaid them back in that end game there. So back and forth action happening. Ultimately, though, you can see Teeny and Shark's gameplay continuing to just be a sound, almost foolproof strategy. Even here, not opting in to take a fight unnecessarily unless they have the advantage, that SMG not being the best to engage with that range. But it's just popping a few times, just let them know, hey, I'm here, you go that way, I got this.
Yeah, not a problem there. And the thing about Sharkantini is, even if one of them does go down early, they have that ability just to recover their game really, really effectively. Liwa Romero, what a start that these guys have, particularly in that very first game. Expecting big things from them. What a performance in groups. Unfortunately for them here, they are going to go down. Well, that's a team that have shown they can win as well. So, again, match point format. If you don't know how it works, 350 points you have to reach, and then the very next game you can win, or have to win, and then the tournament will end. So I think it almost makes it important for the teams that maybe you don't expect to win the whole thing to actually have a strong start as well. Because if you're one of the teams that maybe you'd be happy with the top 10,
yeah,
you've got to have a good start because you don't know where the tournament's going to end. You can't grow into the tournament like we've seen some other teams doing. So getting a strong start is super important here.
Yeah, I think Cold and Rapid kind of labeled it best. We already knew that they were a team that can play very aggressively to earn their way to the 350-point range. However, playing for a win is not typical in their play style, going for high ground. But what they had mentioned was they're going to stick to their normal stuff, stay consistent, play well, then go all in for high ground. We're seeing a much different kind of approach here, though. For Sharkantini, it's almost like, hey, we want to win everything, which I think is really important, too, because it almost makes it feel demoralizing to the rest of the lobby. Because, as you know, clearly, winning is going to give you the most points anyways, just in general, right? So there's no reason to kind of beat around the opportunity. You kind of just want to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was one of the players in the lobby, I'd be sick and tired of seeing these guys' faces and the big screens at the back there. They keep winning games non-stop.
Oh, look at how close this was right here. So Kanata just rebooted in. Victor V was up top, but Shark comes, catches Kanata off the fresh reboot. That could have went absolutely south for Victor and Kanata, who earned 0 points game number 1, 30 in the last round. So sort of closing the gap, but nearly getting left behind.
Again, they need to wake up. They need to pick things up here. For the beginning, as you set to see the leaderboard on the right-hand side of the screen, lots of teams that still need to have a bit more of a comeback in this game. Bolts and Acorn there, Pollo Peterbot, Salvatore Yassin, Pablo Chino, Victor V, Kanada, the bottom 5 currently. It's not down and out yet, of course, but you want to make the most of all the games that you can here. Peterbot and Pollo. Want to see them in this end game, want to see them as a duo as well. They're a team that we know can win. We saw it in the groups, and the sort of team that can just run away with it. But remember, even in the groups, it took them a little while to get going. They won that last game of Elite Stronghold, then they went into Slurp Rush, won the first game of that, and then they finally got into second, third, and fourth gear as they got towards the midpoint of the tournament. We might only have 7, 8 games today, so you can't take that long.
Yeah, it's a great observation. Peterbot and Pollo definitely performed much, much better on the next map. They didn't actually start the tournament hot off either during their group stage. They had, in fact, a fairly bad performance for the first 2 or 3 games, sort of figuring it out towards the later half of the Elite Stronghold map, but it was the Slurp Rush that they really began to take off. Now, let's be honest though, so did Sharkantini. That was their back half of the tournament. In fact, they outpaced them by a fair amount. Sky and Scroll have a lot to prove though. They were sent down to that survival stage, really just barely inching their way out. It was quite the nail biter at the end though. Sky and Scroll did in fact turn up all the way. Look at this though, Sharkantini versus Kanata and Victor V.
Shit.
This is a big fight here. It's always a problem when it's a 2-on-2 because you can see yourself potentially sent back to the lobby permanently. Victor,
wow,
a huge shot from Kanata. Okay, both sides exchange here. It's Shark who gets the siphon though. That's gonna be a changer for this entire engagement. Had it been the other way, this probably wouldn't have actually been a good thing for Teeny to push, but Teeny's feeling confident. He pushes out. Victor gets out of there. That could have gone south.
Yeah, definitely could have. It's the last team you want to be fighting here early game, particularly when you're in the bottom half of the leaderboard like Victor and Kanada are. Important to see what that team can do. We saw some really nice solo clutching from Victor V the other day, so I want to see that again. I want to see that reflected here in the finals because it is just that different level of pressure.
And I think it's a newfound confidence as well.
Yep.
You need to have those moments. Players like Victor V and Kanata need those clutch moments on LAN just to change their mentality, just to prove to themselves, hey, what we're doing over on NA online in those types of lobbies is working, but translating it into in-person is definitely a whole different skill set. We've seen a whole newfound confidence even from players like Faded and Khan.
Yep.
They have had a relatively great overall consistent week so far. here today. Already at 0, though. Not quite having the fast start. And, you know, it is a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought we would see more teams doing that kind of just drop immediately, take that initial whatever bus path it is, fight. But it's not exactly going that way.
Well, that's the thing, it's finals, you know, and this is what I was saying at the beginning of the show when we were sort of outside, that I feel like the pace of the lobby will play differently. We saw a lot of eliminations early game, we saw lots of action, but this is a whole new level of risk, and like I mentioned earlier, you need to have a good start, and if you're taking those risks early on, you're not setting yourself up to even have a good performance, let alone actually win the whole thing, because yeah, maybe Shark and Teeny run away with it now, they win in Game 7. If you had a slow start, it's an absolute disaster.
Big full elimination for Goofy and Z-Dog. OCE was in 5th place coming into this one. They were holding kind of strong and steady, but they are going to be the first team to get fully eliminated now. Goofy and Z-Dog, the singular representation here on the finals lobby. Almost had the only Spooks arrival, survival, call it what you will. They played very well. They came so close, but now it's all
Peter
up
and
to Goofy
Poyo
and
are
Z-Dog.
actually looking good this game. I'm not lying.
As far as a start to its
They're actually looking so good.
They've held 5th place this
like Peter's cap, Mammoth, does that hold fast?
Unfortunately, they're out of this game,
Mythic
so
friend.
everyone else is going to be catching up, overtaking. So that's really where they
I never thought I would
get
see
to test their mettle,
Peter
test the
with
wits
Mythic
about
friends.
them, see what they've got. Whilst they're watching on from the sidelines. Peterbot and Poyo, though, set in a nice position right here. Top tier trading towards the north side of the zone right here. The only POI, at least half of it, is going to be in this next zone. As they're just looking to wreak havoc with Mammoth. We saw Peterbot doing it so much in the group that he was playing in, of course, group number 1. And with that mythic shotgun as well, that is one of those shotguns that you can just get right in the face. And it's so good from close range. He's almost got the perfect loadout right there, especially for his playstyle. I mean, Romero and Liwa. Lots of expectations based on how well they did in the actual groups. But surely coming into the event, the pressure must have been off. So it's nice to see them stepping up to the plate here.
Yeah, I think if anything, they performed so well, they might have actually shook all the nerves off.
Yeah.
Because they have continued to remain consistent. Mini Pio also, talk about pressure for all of these teams here. Salvatore Yasin has Middle Eastern obviously on their back. You have the Japan region on Mini Poyo's kind of side there. So really fun to see Fukun and Mini Pio continue to kind of step up here.
Oh, Peter and Poyo are going to be in
Now
congestion.
pulling
That's
far
not good.
towards the east here, and it's going to continue to go that way. See how things are looking.
There's a lot more teams playing Storm than we saw in that previous game, particularly. Seems like teams are wanting to have a solid start, stay inside of the zone, not take too many risks. But now we're sort of getting a bit, wow,
Damn.
lovely from Romero and Liwa, showing that chemistry right there. They're closing in on Yasin as well. They're going to take this duo out if they can, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Yasin is inside of the box. Salvatore and Yasin are out. That's Liwa and Romero that do it. And for a team that had such a good qualification into this final, unfortunately, it's not been the dream start to finals that they could have wanted.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. You know, we're just talking about teams playing the Storm. Yeah, you play the Storm because it's safe, because normally you don't get into these types of all-in clashes like you just saw there. But when you get 3-2-1, you're kind of greedy on the HP pool, right? You're running around all weekend.
Yeah, but like I can't like play anything of creative right now. I'm watching EWC.
Chino and Pablo and Gu. Fortunately for Lua, didn't have Mammoth, but
Like if you want, can watch it with me, but like you don't have to if you don't.
they have been playing so aggressively. It has been working out very well. Romero somehow manages to escape the grips of that duo there. So he'll be alive. His teammate will be
I'm
back in here.
Bye-bye.
Only 30 seconds remaining, but obviously it's enough for Lua to get back in again.
Yep, more than happy with that. For that team, Omzi Sky Jump though, they're a team that have the French fans on their side. Really happy to see actually both of our French teams qualifying through into the finals. Lots of fans for both of these teams, and whenever they're on the screen, whenever they're picking up on a limb, there's always that hype, there's always that energy that you can feel in the crowd right here. There goes Dom though, down and out. Demus just have to solo clutch for now. As reboots are about to end, that's a horrible time for Dom to go down. Shark and Teeny are going to be licking their lips at all of this loot. Unfortunately for them, the zone does pull quite far, so they're not able just to sit on that loot and enjoy it and invest a lot of those materials that they could build up into a massive base.
Peter
But
Van Boyle
again, I
on
like this position from them. I like where they're at. They're not on the same side of zone as the majority of everyone else. Shows they have brains as well as skill.
Yeah, they have an incredible setup there. A huge metal ramp just to look over, not even protecting their backside because the way the zone played out, and then they go into that fight and end up obviously being successful with it. That's a great way to kind of start the end game to your tournament.
Oh,
Darm did get to just slip back into the game though there, so he's not completely out. I was curious to see if the timer was going to be enough, so he does manage to get back into the game, rebooted. Sharkantini used their extra shockwaves though to make it on over now. And they're already starting to position up for some eyes in the sky here. But first they're gonna have to get through Peter and Boya, who's holding the opposite side. Sky and Scroll on the other side. How are they faring here? Plenty of duels all around them, but it's looking pretty decent.
Big moments here for Sky and Scroll. We talked about it all week. AGAL watching on, the club championship at stake. Huge, huge moments for them. And Sharkantini, could they be setting up for another victory royale right here? You cannot put it past them. They're the sort of team that can take this tournament and have an early dinner because they're just that good. But who's going to play spoiler? Which is going to be the team that's really going to take the whole event and really surprise us? There's always one. Swizzy and Pixie, great start to the day. Unfortunately, the second game was an absolute disaster. Nice to see them in this end game, though. Still no placement points, only one elimination point for this team. As Khan looking to try and continue a lot of that momentum they got as well from yesterday. Taking down Iomzo, taking down Josh as well, so that's that duo completely out.
Big setback for NA's Elite Iomzo and Josh there as they get eliminated just under Swizzy and Pixie's sights there. The pressure was too much to deal with. Shark and Teeny have effectively taken the high ground. Muzz is playing second height off to the side there. Salvatore Yasin, Goofy Z-Dog, Josh Iomzo, the first three duos now out of the tournament here. Placement points will start being rewarded here after the next team start to fall now. So this is the critical part of the endgame. Mini PO RPG into a catch, almost gets full box there by Vico. Gotta love that play. Legendary RPG with 8 rockets is nothing to scoff at. That is quite the loadout.
That is definitely, and it's a nice opportunity for them just to clear out a lot of those low ground layers. We've seen these guys playing in this sort of section of the lobby as well. They can play.
Damn, Shark and Teeny are stacked.
None other than Dimush, and Malabuka's in trouble as well, trying to escape, only 49 HP, having to invest a lot of those materials to try and stay alive. Tries to find an opportunity to pop the big pop, but not going to get one for the time being. Now has the Storm to deal with as well. It's not just other players, it's the Storm, and now he's dwindling in terms of that white HP as well. Plenty of bills for Malabuka to actually make his way into the zone, but he needs to try and find some of that Cypher. No white HP effectively on Malabuka. Just needs to try and find one big shot, one opportunity to stay in this game, because remember, no placement points, no points at all for that team yet.
Yeah, definitely. The Mets, though, on Malabuka to move right there. Definitely impressive to say the least. Meanwhile, Romero is trying to stay alive here and earn as much more that he can by himself. Izzy and Nosif. Francis on their back. A big pop from the crowd as they see their favorites going for height. The Izzy buff is real. Meanwhile, Sky and Scroll, AGAL, a lot riding on the line here. Millions of dollars separate them on the club championship leaderboard. This can go any way. Sky Scroll, though, still 0 elims, nothing earned just yet. Finally, 16 positioning points starting to come in here. Peterbot Pollo, what's the loadout looking like? Still plenty to work with. Good amount of mats. They're at second layer as well. They're thinking about it.
And crucially,
Peter needs a refresh,
as a duo in the end game, hoping that they can keep that going throughout the rest of this game as well. Lots of chance for Izzy and Nosif in the crowd right here. Peterbot gets surprised, left his wall open for a little bit too long right there, as Malabuka is the one that goes down there in the feed as well. So Vico Malabuka, I don't think got any points out of that game. Sharkantini, though, had to get relegated down towards that low ground. Izzy and Nosif took it off them, but
bro,
these are the guys that can
Kanata, Peter, Pollo, Sharkantini, Sky Scroll, and this one endgame.
They're waiting in the wings. They're
also
waiting
rapid.
For opportunity to pounce.
Bolts and Acorn. Jesus, bro.
Yeah, definitely. But you can't make any mistakes now. You see, you're gonna get punished if you drop the ball here and now. Team still alive. Sharktini, Skyjump, Mumsy, Izzy, and Nosif on high ground. Swizzy and Pixie are still in this game too, so the points are adding up here. Sky and Scroll working their way through the layers now. Bolts is gonna fall to Pablo Wingu there. Sky
Pixie and Bolt dead. Also Acorn. Okay.
Pollo takes down Pixie. That's a big one as well. Now, big
Demus
fight,
dead.
Sky gets caught there by Acorn.
Sky
caught
dead.
in between the crossfire. Cold and Rapid 2 are at 4 eliminations now.
Cold and Rapid need a huge game. That's how it's done. Catching Sky off guard right there on the low ground. Cold and Rapid, they're looking to prove that they can win games, to silence the doubters, and to keep plowing through this lobby. Peterbot drops in the box as well, trying to find a shot. Doesn't quite get the elimination. Still full HP though, gets back towards Poyo, who does actually pick up Fukun, and now these guys are keeping on going.
That's the biggest and most important elimination they could have gotten. That's the refresh that Peterbot and Poyo needed to get back in the game. But now you have a problem. The problem is Shark and Teeny are comfortable. Skyjump and Mumsy also have their refresher, and Peterbot and Poyo didn't get enough material from that, so they're going to be likely forced into the low ground. Poyo kind of leading the charge here. Peterbot playing Fragger right now. Izzy and Nosif playing the you cannot take my high ground strategy. Victor V, Kanata in the low ground. Rapids down to a single shot. Victor goes in for it. A huge elimination now for Victor and Kanata. This is going to end up being a clash now for Mumsy. Skyjump into Peterbot and Poyo.
It's Peterbot and Poyo.
Okay, Shark, Teeny, Peter, Poyo,
trying to get as many of those
and the guys on high.
Of this game, Shark and Teeny still in this lobby as well.
And Kanata and Victor. No.
Takes down Peterbot. 2 Titans going head to head, and Shark comes out on top right there. They just can't get that refresh. Material starting to dwindle. Players coming on down. Mumsy crashing into the top of the box of Teeny and Shark. But look who's still up on high. It is Izzy. It is Nosif. They're miles above the rest of the lobby. Not even giving Teeny and Shark an opportunity to look up. But Shark and Teeny, they're looking. They're assessing. They're looking to see what they can do next. They're dropping on down, tumbling on through. Huge shot right there. Nosif goes down though. Izzy has to stay alive.
This is crazy. Shark is still in it though. He ends up falling. It's up to Teeny. Teeny's on the siphon, but it's not going to be enough. Izzy is even surprised himself. He couldn't believe he managed to stay alive there. In the
Bro, Shark and Teeny could have won back-to-back.
What a fight, and what a well-played hype play from these guys. They played it so much higher up than the rest of the lobby. Nobody else had launch pads at that stage of the game. Nobody else could have the time to actually overdrive grenade up with the fizz. And the crowd are incredibly happy about that one. We've seen them in these end games. We haven't seen them win yet today. We've seen that they can overall. We've seen that Izzy has what it takes. He didn't have to do much in that end game. He was just healing off, which was a nice strategy. Nosif went down, trying to cause chaos, and Izzy closed it out.
I gotta say, Shark and Teeny refused to go down. They were just trying to inch their way across, literally baiting out Izzy, and Nosif said, hey, we know you're gonna run out of material soon. Come down here, take this fight. And in the end, they actually win the clash, even with the high ground team starting to run out of material there. It could have really gone either way. Peterbot, unfortunately, does fall there a little bit early, and Victor V and Kanata could have had that low ground wind as well. But either way, that's a huge jump up, even for Kanata and Victor V. They started that game with 30 points. You want these end games. If you're Peterbot, you also need these end games too.
Yeah, you just need that momentum as well. It's just even about the confidence, the momentum mentally as well. As we take a look at some of the highlights from that game, what I really liked and what I think is really impressive here from Teeny and Shark in particular is that they didn't necessarily force the height. You see Izzy actually shockwave or overdrive all the way over to that POI. No doubt he was looking for some white heels at some point there. But Shark and Teeny, they understand they don't need to win every single game. They don't need to risk playing high every single game. They saw that Izzy and Nosif playing it so high up. And these guys just want to get to 350 points and get that win at that point.
It's kind of an interesting strategy. You see that Izzy and Nosif just showed us that if you get high ground early, but you secure yourself in such a way that you go for ultimate height like that, you can actually just walk away with a full free end game if no one launch pads up. So that was very interesting overall. Love the reactions that we're getting right now. Crowds on their feet. People are just cheering for what's going on here first. Nosif, of course, and Izzy
Poyo and Peter, bro. They should have won the game.
Still excited, still kind of living off of the French teams once again continuing to perform here. What is it? What is it about when it's hosted on your home territory?
Yeah.
You know, something just clicks.
Yeah, it's great. And I want to hear from the winners myself. The fans do, the crowd do. So it's Izzy and Nosif standing by with Zeke and Luton.
Guys, first off, EWC, make some noise!
Oh my gosh, we were going crazy. Izzy Nosif, how does it feel in this moment to get a victory royale?
Ça fait quoi de recevoir d'avoir une victoire aussitôt dans la grande finale aujourd'hui?
Bah franchement, ça nous met bien dans le classement, plus que motivé, et puis bah on est content, voilà.
We just stay focused, we are more than motivated, and of course it put us so up on the ranking, so it just motivates us more and more. It's a good way to start.
How does it feel like in that moment when you get that win and you can just hear the crowd, all the French fans going crazy? Are you using that as fuel, as motivation?
Toujours un peu la même chose, c'est quoi le ressenti? Parce que quand tu gagnes une game d'habitude aussi importante, ça crée quelque chose, mais le fait d'entendre que l'intégralité du public est avec vous, c'est quoi comme comment tu le vis à ce moment-là?
Bah franchement ça fait plaisir, hein. Je suis content quoi.
Hello, like do we just not learn English in school?
It makes me feel really good, but still focus.
How do you stay focused in this? Because man, I can't lie to you. The lights are bright, the crowd is loud. There's so many incredible other duos you're fighting against, but you guys seem so unaffected. You're so locked in.
Comment est-ce que vous arrivez à rester aussi locked in, à rester aussi focus alors qu'il y a les lights, il y a la stage, il y a les gens, et puis surtout, il y a 19 duos contre vous, c'est pas n'importe qui.
Bah on a un objectif et on garde la tête haute et puis on essaie de jouer.
Yeah, we need some English translations, bro.
Every game we are like one objective is make the best game we can. We just keep it like we keep our confidence for us. We stay straight. We don't care who is in front of us. We just try to play our best games each game.
And now, finally, what would you both say to the fans? Because, I mean, you can see there's a group literally just right here that's going crazy for you. You've got all these fans out here that are going crazy for you. What would you each say to them?
Bah, merci d'être là et continuez à nous encourager. Hein.
They say thank you for being there and continue to cheer for us. Do you think, guys, you can do it? Vous pensez que vous pouvez y arriver?
Vous pensez que vous pouvez y arriver?
Tu penses que tu peux y arriver?
Bah, oui.
I ask him, you think you can do it? And he's like, yes, I think so.
I love that. Well, one more time, EWC, make some noise for Izzy and Nelson!
Du bruit pour la team Arcade! Good luck, guys, on the next games.
Hello, everyone.
Whoa.
We've got Frantic here, a legend of the scene. Frantic, first and foremost, you've been to events before. You've been, obviously in the stands, a spectator. You've been on the stage yourself before, too. Give me a little read on, kind of how the vibes here are at EWC.
I mean, the atmosphere here is crazy. It's super fun to be here.
Hello,
I love seeing everyone compete and everyone
Shari, sing me my melody.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about favorite teams? Listen, we know that you've got a favorite. Cold, listen, I need Coach Fran here to help out Cold and Rapid. What have you been seeing so far that they need to improve on, or what do you think they need to keep doing?
I mean, we're having a little bit of a slow start right now, but I'm not worried at all. I think they have great chemistry, as we saw in Group B. They played amazing, super consistent. Cold's the best fragger, so as soon as he gets warmed up, I have no worries about it.
Okay, love that. And listen, Cold is always super stoic. We can never get a read on that guy. But surely you've got a read on him, right? You see him behind the scenes and everything like that. Leading up to an event like this, what's Cold kind of like? What's the preparation look like?
I would say he's still a little bit stoic, but a little bit more energy than you guys maybe see on stage, but he's passionate for sure. He's very competitive.
Okay, good to hear. Well, friend, listen, I want to go ahead and give you the floor. Obviously, you have a ton of supporters at home. You've got some friends watching as well, like Fax. Go ahead, give a shout out to anybody that you want.
Yeah, just want to say shout out Fax City. Maybe one day you'll make it on the broadcast. I did it before you. But, other than that, yeah, Team Cold, he's the best to ever do it, and I'm super happy to be here and watch.
Frantic, rooting for Twisted Minds. I'm rooting for Twisted Minds.
Bro, Frantic just wants to crack Cold, bro.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
He thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler won. You're done.
No, this is about Fortnite. Hello.
that French buff is definitely hitting here in match point finals as Easy and Nosif come out with that victory royale. But I mean, Aurora has been so consistent now. I can't wait to see what they're going to be at when we look at the overall 11. Kelly, Vivid, the 7WG here back with you guys. For the longest time during that match, we were talking about how contested was that high ground, Vivid. At the end of the day, it ended up being Easy and Nosif getting the high ground and getting that victory royale.
Yeah, it was super kind of hard, actually, that game. I feel like to keep track of everything that was kind of going on. Obviously, we were watching the battle for the higher ground. We saw some fights going on in the low ground. And then amongst all of the chaos, we finally tune over to a POV. And I'm like, wait, Shark and TD are alive still in this game? I mean, oh my gosh, those guys just cannot be stopped right now. They're so consistent.
What can I say, man? Look, we're about 3 games in. They're almost halfway the ways to match point.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, look, we all want to see a fun contest, a fun competition with a bunch of people in it. But if they keep playing like this, they're going to have a couple games to try and, hit the match point win.
But I love Levin, bro.
Someone's
He's such
got
a
to
good
start
commentator.
to pick up the pace and get to their level here.
You say fun game, fun contest. Well, the most fun for me that I had was seeing all the NA teams make it into the very end right there. The first 2 games had a little bit of a rough start for them. But we had the likes of Cold. We have the likes of Peterbot and Pollo. But of course, it did come down to the 2 EU teams in the final moments there. But Pollo even here as a solo clutch. We had Kanata and Victor V make it into the end. Finally, our NA team starting to stand up, but they're going to have to do a lot more if they're going to be competing against their EU counterparts.
Especially when we're looking at what Falcons has been able to do so far today. We finally got a bit of a bounce back from their 11 from Falcons with everything going on with the club championship. And actually going back to what you were saying in regards to them being able to that match point threshold for Shark and Tini. I did get a chance to talk to them earlier in the day. They said 9 games. So if they continue to perform like this, I think they're going to just blow that out of the water.
I believe them. I mean, it's funny because...
Bro, who's that little kid on
the conversation around them not being too reactive or whatever. Honestly, like at this point, I think for them it's just easy. There's almost, like it doesn't even feel as rewarding because they're just doing what they have done all year long in Reload.
All right, so Shark and Teeny currently have 188 points, which if I'm not mistaken is halfway to 350, and with a victory royale right there, are we about to get a 6-game match point? That can't be right. That's not going to happen. Obviously, people are going to be standing up to Shark and Teeny, but to see them already be this close to 350 points, that is absolutely insane.
Looking at the 2 teams just behind them, perfect story for the Paris crowd. Skyjump, Mumsy, Izzy, Nosif. Both those French duos just putting on a show for us here, Viv. It's look, guys. After that Izzy and Nosif win, I looked straight at Vivid. I was like, "Are we gonna get some, more reactions from you here in the crowd soon?"
Another jersey coming?
Listen, I would love to kind of do some more antics, but Izzy and Nosif, they got to work their way up to first place, and then maybe we'll get me a little bit excited. To get me even more excited would be NA showing up in this top 10. I mean, Cold and Rappin are sneaking up there, but outside of them, man. Look at all these NA teams on the second page, Acorn and Bolt, all the way at the bottom. I don't know if we've ever seen that before. I mean, Peterbot and Pollo.
I mean, like, Peter and Pollo are not
head-to-head with
winning.
Shark and Teeny. Nowhere to be seen. I mean, Muzz and Sphinx, they started the first game a little bit well, but they're still doing better than Josh and Yumzo also on the second page.
I think that goes to speak on just how maybe underprepared teams were going from the Major 2 finals into the Reload Elite Series. What a switch up to go from Battle Royale to the Reload, and I think that a lot of our top teams like Acorn and Bolts, Peterbot and Pollo, and even some EU teams in other regions as well, just haven't been able to transition into that, not Battle Royale, but Reload mode, and I think having these non-set, or these set lobbies that they're not used to is also throwing people for a loop.
The reality is, especially in the case of Peterbot and Pollo, we talked about a lot at the start of the day, the club championship is on the line here. Right? If these guys don't start to pick up the pace, the Falcons manager might just come and give them a kick up the backside,
Yo, love it, bro.
Like, brothers, we gotta speed it up a bit because even though Sky and Scroll again haven't been phenomenal today, they're ahead. They're in a better position to sort of catch up and get involved in that race for match points. So yeah, Pete and Pollo, let's get a move on.
Yeah, Kelly, another team that's trying to catch up, especially with what Falcons has been doing, is Vitality with Tino and Pablo Wingu. Right now, they're actually below what Falcons has been able to do. They need to find a way. I'm with you. The coach needs to come over and just be like, wake up, please.
Yeah, we were really excited to watch them today. We actually talked about at the start of the show that they're not really necessarily these W key heavy elimination teams. They're more about going for the passivity, but it seems like you can't really make that decision right now. All the teams that we see at the top are making sure that they grab a handful of eliminations every single time. Whether that's early, mid, or later, that depends on how the player is able to play the meta. But for these teams that are kind of just foregoing the eliminations and just going for placement, they can't do that. They have to make a change.
Yeah.
Well, we've obviously been on a little bit of a judgmental
W
arc here.
Smithy.
If we're missing some of the NA teams in the top half, that means some other teams are kind of taking their place, or at least we would expect where they would be. And it's actually some of those smaller region teams. I know I'm kind of breaking your heart right now by calling them a smaller region still. The Brazilian duo, Lua and Romero, 5th place. And then you got Z-Dog and Goofy representing OCE currently in 9th place through 3 games. I feel like those performances already, if they can continue on and finish in those places, they would be incredibly happy with that.
Yeah, look, Leo and Romero, I've given them a bunch of love, right? So I'm not going to keep piling on our Brazilian, Argentinian, Brazilian, whatever, we'll figure it out. But in the case of Z-Dog and Goofy, I mean, props to OCE. I think if there's one region that probably gets dunked on the most as far as let's delete a region, just get rid of it, it's probably OCE, right? But these guys are showing, nah, actually, let's hold on a minute. I think people were worried with some of the unfortunate performances from Alex, who's always been the staple. But these guys have stepped into that slot, stepped into that role, and they're looking really good.
And it's not like they're just playing under the radar. No, they're going up against some of the biggest teams. They're able to fight up against some of the best fraggers in the world. So them to show up for OCE, you know the audience is loving that.
And Vivid, I'm going to be looking at Swissy and Pixie because they did end up getting the first victory royale, but after that, it has been a bit of a slow turn. We've been talking about consistency, and I think today is going to be especially that day that we want to see that consistency.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when we did see Swizzy and Pixie get that first win of the day, I was like, listen, if Swizzy and Pixie actually go on to win this tournament, I don't really think anybody would be disappointed in that. I mean, Swizzy and Pixie are so good. They can have a very, very good run.
But unfortunately, with a good run, that means that there's the possibility of bad runs as well. Even if you get a win, you could easily get 20th place the next game. But the biggest thing that you cannot do is to let those mentalities get down. You have to stay up. You have to be positive. You have to make sure that you are in this for the win. So to all the teams that might not be at the top of our leaderboard right now, I do not think that they're going to be giving up, Levin. I think that this is just the start.
A lot of this duo is just wanting to see if they can get to that match point threshold. 350 points, Argentini, the consistency is there. Let's see if this is going to continue on to match 4.
Crazy to think that halfway into the first map, basically, Sharkintini have broken closer to 350 points than it would otherwise have taken. They might just crack it before we even leave the Elite Strong, which is going to be a big problem, given that the map after this is usually a little bit more dominant, less RNG favored towards the end game, because all that verticality goes out the window.
We played 3 games. We played 3 games, and they've already got over halfway. This is really a spectacle so far. Can they keep it up? That's the big storyline. Who's going to play spoiler, if anyone, at this point? Skyjump, Momsy, Nosif, Izzy. Nice to see the French representation up there in the top 3 as well. And who's going to actually have a bit of a comeback? You know, we've seen Bolts and Acorn all the way down at the bottom of the leaderboard. They need to have something happening right now. And I do expect to see a little bit more of this early game of Spawn congestion as teams need to get those eliminations on the board. As Peterbot finds one, gets another as well. That's Momsy that he takes out early game here. Looking to try and take down another one.
Damn, bro.
That's 3. Keep
That's
it
actually super
going.
Super
Peter,
important.
bro.
We need these fast elims. He recognizes he's got to turn online. And you know what? More teams should have been doing this. More teams should have been taking those hot drops. We mentioned that in game 1 and 2 that everyone was kind of playing it like a regular BR, like, oh, this is our drop, we're going to land here together. And it actually caused even some players to get eliminated a little bit early. Pablo Wengu gets Iabzo there. A nice little kind of turn and burn, but he's got Chino to back him up.
He's got to be careful, though.
Wait.
Oh, he takes down Pablo. Chino's now a solo.
Oh my god, Peterbot turned it on, bro. Peterbot is making it obvious.
There goes Chino. Can he take him down? So weak. Peterbot looking for an angle.
Wait, Peterbot is full W keying.
Peterbot on form right now. Trying to find angles confidently. Inside the box, gets his way out as well, but it looks as though Pablo is going to have his way back in right there. They nearly got 1v2'd by Peterbot.
That's the thing. Peterbot is so dangerous right now. He's going to finish this elimination here because he has to earn these points. That's a really cheeky spot, though. He's thinking to himself, hey, where'd you go? I know you're here. You can't really be that far. He's thinking you're under the ramp or something there. Meanwhile, Malabuka just listening to the action.
No,
happen here. He
Malabuka,
sees
fuck
the
off,
builds. He's
Malabuka.
curious as to what's going on. Peterbot might be walking into a trap. Still not trusting it. I mean, you're right to believe someone's here. He just doesn't exactly know where.
Oh crap.
Another team coming on in. Is this the UFNCS plus Peterbot right now? Dimash and Dom making their presence known. Malabuka inside of the box. No Vico anywhere nearby. Dom looking for an angle on the other side. Gets Malabuka inside of the box. Takes the shots as well. Down to 18 HP, but that's not going to matter. Siphon comes in.
This could be a big problem. Peterbot's probably thinking to himself, oh, hey, that's the guy I was looking for. Let me go out there. No, no, no. It's a whole different duo in alert player. So he's going to have to really make a move at this point and be fast about it. The more time he takes away, there it is, finally gets Chino. I was going to say, the less time he gets
Damn,
to
Peter has 5 kills, bro, already.
Where is Pollo? Has he started making his way in? I think I see a matching arrow there, kind of on the hill. So maybe Pollo's now gotten a little bit close, kind of curious, right, as to what's going on in this area.
Peter might be close.
Right now, though. This is like Chapter 5 Peterbot, just running at teams, even as a solo. Was not afraid of Chino. You can't. I mean, it's, you know, he's still got it in him. He's still got that fire within. I think maybe it's a bit of a wake-up call, these first 3 games not going their way. You know, maybe they thought they would have had a little bit of an easier time than they actually have. Of course, they did well in the first group. Not amazingly when you compare it to
no way Peter's skiing this.
I mean, that's
no way.
attainable standards, but I think Peterbot just needs to lock in a little bit here, which is what he's trying to do.
Yeah, he started off at 6-12
Damn,
in this game.
bro.
Now he's knocking on the door of 12. What a huge mammoth shot right there. And then
like Peter, bro, chill, bro, you're griefing.
This is that one, but the crash pads are coming through. He is just going all in right now.
Oh, Peter just turned it on this game, bro. He's making it obvious.
Spirit on his sleeves, just like that. 6 eliminations, all by himself, taking on duos. This is the Peterbot that Faxity loves to root for. This is the we in Peterbot right here. I love this.
Come on, let's see if he can continue it. 6 eliminations so far. No idea where Pollo even is. Is he just the one outside? Difficulty right now, though. Peterbot's in a bit of a sandwich. Couple of teams, couple of players in the surrounding area. Dom and Dimash back to a duo there as well. Pablo and Chino in the area as well. Peterbot needed to hit that shot.
Peter might be dead.
He's getting keyed by Dimash. Gets him inside the box. And yeah, it's the third party. It's Pablo and Chino. Big cheer here from the crowd. From the Vitality fans.
Peter did really
Dom
good.
and Dimash now have to deal with Pablo and Chino as well. 2 very good fighting duos here from the European region going head-to-head, giving each other a little bit of respect as well. But that was electric there from Peterbot at the beginning. That's what you want to see from a team chaser.
I wouldn't be surprised he comes back. He's like, yo, I got free elims over here, bro. We need to play the north side.
Yep.
This is the strat. You know, it's little things like that that give you information on, you know, where teams are landing, which teams you're clearly better than in certain scenarios. Take advantage of it. Peterbot deserves all the praise here. That's the highlight reel that we have been expecting. Took a couple of games to get there, but again, we're just starting this tournament, right? Everyone needs to chill out.
This was it right here. There was actually a moment where Pablo actually went down to another team. So Peterbot took down Pablo, went for Chino. Chino managed to hide away, but then Pablo went down to someone else. And I don't think Peterbot would have known that. So if he'd have gone for Chino right there, he would have actually been able to take him out. Swizzy and Pixie, though, getting off to a hot start in this game. First elimination for them.
Come on, Goofy.
Yeah, that's a big one for them because Goofy are slipping down that leaderboard after a solid start. Teeny and Shark also a little bit more calm at the beginning of the game, and Sky and Scroll far from it. That's their second of the game so far.
Yeah, getting Sphinx right there. Sphinx kind of falling down behind with Muzz. You know, game 1 was pretty well, going in 5th place. Now jumping kind of forward here to match number 4. They found themselves more closer to 15th instead. So still much more to be desired. Sky and Scroll have seemed to have caught their mark, though. This is a tough spot to be in. Like, you want to get to your duo to have that backup, but you don't want to expose yourself to a well-positioned fighting European team like Sky and Scroll.
Yeah, the last team you want to fight. 9th place right now for Sky and Scroll. They've been lackluster, really, throughout the entire of this competition. They've had their moments, they've had their glimpses of brilliance, but I think we expect more consistency.
What do we
from
think
this
is on
hard
this
in
game?
Reload because, you know, it's such a smaller map, there's less teams.
I'm thinking
it is harder to be consistent, especially when the loot pool is so different as well.
Peter, Pollo, or Shark,
They got their 2 bad days out the way, which is uncharacteristic of them anyways.
Yeah.
So, you know, realistically, that was probably the best case scenario. It's like, you know what, we had our tough days. Now they can just kind of get to grooving here. They kind of clawed their way out of that slum that they were in. Because they're not doing too bad right now. They're at 90 points here.
Yeah,
they're very much in the competition.
What I will say is they're one of the greatest teams at adapting to the lobby as well. They're one of the really good at sort of looking back at some of those VODs, looking back at what they did wrong. And they're very humble. They're one of those teams that works with a coach, of course. They have that support behind them. And you can honestly see it every single time they go into a season, every single time they have a strategy. It's so well thought out that it was almost quite surprising we didn't see something similar in Reload for the first 2 days for their performances. But they're here, and that's all that matters. Shark and Teeny as well playing the Storm. 0 eliminations for them right now. We'll just see how they play out the rest of today.
Yeah, definitely a different pacing here. I was under the assumption maybe they would have been trying to position themselves to
top 5 is still alive. Top 10, everybody in top. Bro, this lobby stacked, bro. Everybody's still alive. No one has died. Well, like no team.
He hasn't caught a break at all. The back half of this early game, he just keeps getting farmed.
Peter and Pollo 13th now, or top 15th. Good.
Saw Cammy kind of get in there waxing on this. It's pretty tough for
Goof
OC
is
right now.
dead right now.
Cammy and Hari as well, 6th place right now.
Damn, like Shark and Teeny might just win the whole tournament.
That's exactly what they're like, right? You know, they're kind of flying under the radar. Consistency is the name of their game. We got Romero as well. Currently sat in 5th place.
They're probably gonna get like 230 points this game.
They're a team that have surprised so many people with the ability that's on display. The team from Argentina have really put on a show for us.
Yeah, most definitely. Got to clear the air too. Argentina, huh? 'Cause, you know, 11 over here trying to create a regional battle over there.
You don't want to do that. Not with those two.
Okay, Momsy, Sky Jump though, jumping in. Looking pretty solid. Shark and Teeny setting up here. Got a couple tags in on Demis, but not enough to want to stay around. They're still in the storm, mind you. So they have been kind of lurking, hunting for action. Now they're going to go for a quick heal. Hit the super jump. And they'll be off to positioning for the end game. This is the same exact strategy they employed last round, by the way. It was an eastern zone. They went far south all the way around and then wrapped their way into a strong southern position. But look at that. The zone's going to start pulling towards the top tier training. So it's not going to be exactly favorable for the way that they're entering in this time.
Yeah, I think knowing the map is really important.
Wait, Bullstar Acorn are dead last.
Has been crucial as part of their strategy.
What the fuck?
Izzy and Nosif as well made that rotation look really simple.
How are Bulls and Acorn dead last?
Really important. Shark and Teeny looking like they're trying to get towards that dead side of zone. They're flying way above everyone else. That white HP is my only concern. Interested to see how they actually approach that. You see Shark with 2 of those fizz. I wonder if Teeny has any med kits. I think we did see them buy some on the
Bobby stacked, bro. Everybody is alive. Shark. What?
To the storm.
Shark died.
Already Team's going to see that. You see Teeny right next to him. Disastrous there for Shark, who has now gone down. Was it Storm? Was it full damage? I'm not too sure. But Teeny's now having to expand out on his own. And what was looking like a really smart play from those guys turned out to not be the case whatsoever. It looked as though they might have just got looked at by one of the teams that they were trying to glide over. Maybe took it a little bit too risky towards the end of that rotation. Good news for Shark, though, is he will be able to get back into it. Reboots are not ending for another 40 seconds.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, though. Bad news for Teeny. Getting looked at from so many different angles. Could this be the end for Teeny? Well, Shark is back in the game right now, but the first time we've seen them wobble today.
Might not be the end, but it's definitely going to be much harder now, given that they've expended so much resources here. So, yes, Shark is back in, but look, 40 mats here. What are you going to do? Split that with your teammate? So they're going to really have to put it all on the line and crash into another duo. You know, I don't know whether or not to, like, celebrate the downfall here, because it means that we have a longer tournament life or what, but, yeah, we'll just have to see.
I think that's the thing, though. Shark and Teeny are that sort of team that can and will get a refresh earlier on. They're a team that can just roll through anybody. So even though they find themselves in this position, you cannot count themselves, or you cannot count them out. All of our duos still alive at this point. Lots more passive. RPG from Peterbot into the Mammoth Pistol. Nice connection there onto the team down below. Peterbot with 6 limbs. Didn't really get too much more active after that first bout of eliminations that he was managing to get. It's a difficult rotation for so many of our teams right now, rotating right the way through top tier training, all the way down towards that southeast.
Sky Scroll are going to get the first jump here on the zone as it kind of pulls relatively favorable for them. Havoc, Swizzy, and Pixie are already there as well. Cold and Rapid, some of the earlier teams to start positioning in the new Storm. Sky Scroll thinking about whether or not it's time to go ahead and make their rotate. Meanwhile, Shark and Teeny are off here. We knew that they were going to have to crash in. It's Osif or Nizzy. Here it is. They end up getting Nosif there. And that's going to be an unfortunate turn of events. Shark and Teeny, Aura versus Orchid, already starting to go down.
Let's take a look at the club championship on the right side of the screen. 300 points separates Team Falcons from AGAL. Reminder, our AGL team is Sky and Scroll. Our Team Falcons team is Peterbot and Poyo, who have had a very slow start by their standards. Peterbot turning it up to 11 though this game, getting so many of those eliminations. Those guys want to hold on to that first place, but for Sky and Scroll, they need to chase.
Peterbot and Boyo, had they not just got third party right there, would have taken out Shark and Teeny. Rocket launcher in hand, Mammoth Pistol when Shark was flying by, Peterbot connected with them, and they were about to push for the elims there. It just shows you how one small situation can change the entire story. And just like that, Shark and Teeny gets to push on. Izzy has to play this out solo though. One of the only players as a solo right now. Acorn has also been found himself as a solo. He is in dead last as
Vico Malibuka on the high ground.
So tough. Another one.
Peterbot, bro.
Shot. What is going on?
Teeny down though as Peterbot goes to the flyby onto height. Huge moments here in this lobby. Shark now has to do it all as a solo, just like Izzy, who we saw have that incredible solo clutch just yesterday.
Peterbot flew by height and just fucking exploded them, bro.
Anyone that can do it, it's Shark. Hits the first shot there onto Goofy. Z-Dog in the front side. Shark only 13 bills. Needs to try and find something and quick. Still no placement points for Shark and Teeny. Every single team is still in this game. At least as a solo, that's the first team to go down. It's Izzy and Nosif. Disastrous return to the lobby for these guys after such a good finish to the last game. Shark though needs it all to do and unfortunately cannot do it. They are the third team to fall in this game, so that is our first place team out.
Not before landing the shot though, so the damage
this is good for Peterbot.
Peterbot, Boyo have a chance now.
Rapid dead. Pixie dead.
Peterbot scrambling here, almost loses track of the enemy. The enemy loses track of him. It is just a messy and scrappy fight, but looks like Peterbot gets it all back under control.
Holy fuck. Sky Scroll dead. Chino dead.
Call for Peterbot to come. It's Khan. It's faded. This shot's land through. Peter's got the RPG. It's left or right, which way they're going to go, we're just going to have to see. Meanwhile, Momsy Sky jump back to high ground here, trying to go for a win. They just can't get enough.
Paris gets excited about that, but Momsy gets beamed.
Damn, Peter.
It's got to be the green light for Peterbot and Poyo to go up for height. As our French team are whittled down to just a solo. Scroll now also a solo on these mid-ground layers, looking for an opportunity to find a refresh. Peterbot causing absolute havoc with that RPG, looking for the shot as well, not going to be able to be found, but Poyo is all the way up top. Finally, could this be the game? From the very offset of this game, we saw a different side of Peterbot that we haven't seen in a while. Prime Peterbot could be back. Could they be setting themselves up for the ultimate comeback after such a shaky start? To do it for them, to do it for Falcons, and to do it for their legacy.
I like that too. He just dropped the RPG, so he doesn't even.
Yo, Peter and Poyo actually have like a big chance of winning this game.
Place earlier in the day, so Peter's looking fully locked in. We have not seen him better here on the evening. Jump into the low ground though. Look at Scroll still clutching as a solo right now, really pushing his way.
If Scroll wins this game,
Cold is also solo clutching here as well. Victor B. Kanata. Kanata's gonna be the first to fall. Victor's got his backside open though, and Scroll finds another elimination there. It's Muzz who takes down Kanata. It's Cold who exchanges onto Darm. It is still firing off here on the low ground.
Only Siphon bills though for Scroll. He's gonna have to pop that med kit as Sky Jump. Of course, down to a solo right here. Dimash and Dharma completely out. Peterbot gets into the box of Josh and finds the
damn, Josh probably got raped, bro.
For him. 0 bills going into that. Now they can reclaim that high ground positioning and wreak havoc onto the rest of the lobby downstairs. Peterbot and Poyo ensuring that they're not going to take full damage, using that fizz, looking on down at everyone else. And they're looking to climb that leaderboard right now. Skyjump still alive as a solo. Remember, they were looking really good up on height until Pollo had something to say about it.
This is the wildest part. All that work, and they're still not in top 10, by the way. They are just beginning to get to that positioning area. Meanwhile, Skyjump gets another elimination onto Iamzo down low. The points are adding up. A big miss shot there. We are going to see Peterbot have to go down and take the fight here shortly. Match is starting to run out. There's the Flowberry Fizz. Malabuka Vico get crashed on. This can go either way. It's a scrappy fight down low. Everyone's going to have to get their hands dirty. Salvatore cranking around the side, loses Yasin. It's a 2v1v1. Peterbot Pollo have to make a move. When is it going to be?
Low on builds though, Peterbot only got one. He's going to have to drop on through. Salvatore all the way back in the storm, manages to make his way back in. It's a 2v1. Peterbot and Pollo have announced themselves at last in the finals. This is what this duo are about.
This is it. Look at Peterbot really trying to live in the moment. Gets up from his seat, looks around, tries to absorb in this moment right now. He needs that. He lives and thrives off the energy. I know for certain the fans online are feeling good about this one. We are Peterbot and Pollo. Look at the fan right there holding this sign up. We love that. They love them. That was a good game. That's what they needed. And again, I said it. They were so far down though. That's, I think, barely going to nudge them into like top 10. Maybe a little further now though. A win does give you an exceptional amount of extra points.
Well, you know what the great news for them was as well is that Sharkantini went down so early. They didn't get any placement points in that game. I think they only got one elim, Sharkantini. So if there's any sort of game to really have that big comeback and that big win for Peterbot and Pollo, it was that one.
Well, oh, wait, now that I think about it, though, you got to think about it. They're representing Team Falcon, don't forget. Sky and Skrull are their other, arguably even bigger, you know, team to deal with. They have to outperform them for the club championship points. So this is a really good showing right now. There's the signs once again. I don't think Peter can actually see them from where he's seated, but it's definitely cool.
Yeah, he definitely feels the love, and that's a really important point. We're going to see the leaderboard, so when you do see the leaderboard, have a look out for where AGAL, Sky, and Skrull are. Luckily for them, they did have a nice solo clutch with Skrull, managed to pick up a few eliminations, and managed to carry the team forward in that endgame. And, of course, for Falcons, they just got to outperform them. So keep an eye out on that stage of the leaderboard, because you never know when this is going to actually end. Plenty more action to come as well, and the first 4 games have been fantastic.
Just looking at the reactions here. Peterbot trying not to get too worked up right now, but definitely looking better than from comparatively when I was down there doing that interview with Z.
Poor Konata, man.
Catching up on the tournament standings. I mean, Pollo was looking sick.
I love my boy Konata, bro. We're
so serious, but hey, after that one, I'm sure they're feeling pretty good. Well, if you're at home, you're probably feeling good too for our international fans. So take the moment, catch a breather, and we'll be right back.
I'm gonna go take a breath real quick. I'll be back.
Up, left, down, down. Oh, nice! 8-bit sprite. Look so surprised, like, whoa! Okay, nice. I'll take us to the extraction point, and then I can continue with my game. Oh, all this running is making me thirsty.
Hey, stop right there.
Wait, don't eliminate me. I'm just trying to extract my sprite.
Oh, you have a sprite? Me too, actually. I've got the Jonesy sprite, mate.
Oh, nice. I got the 8-bit one.
Oh, that one goes hard. Looks so surprised.
That's so weird. I literally said that earlier. Do you want to maybe form a truce?
Truce?
Yeah. I won't eliminate you, and you won't eliminate me until we both extract our sprites. We got a deal?
Okay, mate. Deal.
This was nice.
Yeah, it was actually.
What the fuck?
What? We had a truce. What are you doing?
Don't move.
You betrayed me.
Whoa, what the fuck?
You saved my life. You aren't trying to...
My brother. I would never.
My brother. I just missed out a whole story, bro, because it's taking a piss.
Here you go. It's wrecked. Well, see ya.
See ya.
Aww.
Oh my goodness. I mean, after that game.
Whoa, that guy's jacked.
That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. We're talking about Peter Bot. We got the hype. The Falcons fans are here. They're feeling the energy. Hey, Boyo's on fire.
Yo. Come on, bro, get a little bit hype.
We've said enough up here. It's all about Team Falcons. We got to keep the show on the road. Thank you and shout out to the Falcons! This is it, our last time around the map for Elite Stronghold. And so far, it's been the show we have all been expecting. Shark and Teeny at top of the leaderboard at one point. Peter Bot and Pollo getting their victory royale, and even Izzy and Nosif continuing the run from the survival stage to get a victory royale as well. This is match point finals, Taco.
Wow, Peter Bot and Pollo are fourth now. That's crazy.
Teams are looking to get on that match point and then eventually get a victory royale.
But it's just not going to come easy, because right now everyone is just managing to break out and keep the leaderboard close. You never really get to see too clear of a breakaway just yet, but it might be cooking.
Not a
Shark and Teeny
17.
obviously on the hunt for it, and after that
Acorn and
impressive
both
performance
still
out
on
of
last.
Peter Bot
Wow.
and Pollo, I think we might just be starting to see the rivalry really heat things up here, but you can't count anybody out.
No, you definitely can, because honestly, if you were watching the first two games, you might have counted out Peter Bot and Pollo, and you would have been wrong. And if you kind of looked at that leaderboard, though, Peter Bot and Pollo kind of high up, a relatively good position, but it's AGAL Sky.
Now, last game Peter was going crazy, bro.
Needs to start to pick up
That was
the
a
pace.
crazy
Only
good game.
108 points so far, sitting in 11th place.
Really just waiting to see who touches down first in some of these teams. Peter Bot, Pollo, Momsy in their sights. Meanwhile, other players continuing to drop across the map. But Momsy, he might get the opening shot. Peter Bot is just so incredible. Oh, Peter Bot is out of here.
What?
Momsy's gonna
Come
send
on.
him packing. Fearless Fear will not be infiltrated by NAC that easily.
Already that hot run coming to a slow start here, but in comes Cheeto, Pablo, they hear the noise and they want to take part in it. Rocket launcher in hand, that's going to drop him down to relatively low ground, burning through his materials as well. Momsy needs a miracle to stay alive, and he's not going to get it here. That knock's going to come in, and Cheeto and Pablo are going to get that first elimination for themselves.
Momsy just wasn't even sure which direction to check, and I can't blame him with the way that Chino and Pablo just collapsed. But Khan,
damn,
waiting strike back.
gets the opening shot, but it doesn't even matter.
Epic
Chino
spaz.
and Pablo clearly ready to finish
Good
whatever
God,
they've
bro.
started off here in Game 5. Because just like that, Khan also sent to detour elsewhere.
Yeah, but it's not over just yet. The lurks keep on coming, but Malibuca gets found out at the last second. Chino Pablo immediately turn around and take him down as well. The late entry over towards Peerless Beer has been working out, netting them 4 eliminations right out of the gates.
Might have to come to a little bit of a pause, though. Drifting elsewhere on the map. Shark, Teeny. Might have to clash soon enough here at Elite Experiments, but as of right now, a little bit more fixated on just establishing themselves in the lobby overall. They're going to take some time to properly loot things up, make sure they get a decent material count online before they really start to get involved with some of these fights. And Shark, Teeny, their presence is just going to constantly keep Mumsy and Skyjump really on. I think it's just a little bit on edge if you're Mumsy and Skyjump, because you've got a slight lead, but how do you hold on to that?
Especially against Shark and Teeny. It's going to be something that's very, very hard to plan for. Especially this team here, Goofy, Z-Dog from OCE. If you don't pay attention to the region, you might not necessarily know what type of skill they're capable of. And so far this weekend, they are surprising almost everybody. But now they're on the back foot, forced to run away from Swizzy and Pixie, who at one point were the first place team as well. This is over towards Chisel Cubes. They don't into that crater. There's so many nooks and crannies, places to hide, and they want to be the team that gets caught off guard because of it.
That's the problem for Swizzy and Pixie. You miss one lobby with an early elimination exit, and suddenly the rest of the leaderboard is already on your throat. And Z-Dog, Goofy, they have not made things easy. Every single time, these guys have been looking for a lot of early game brawling.
Wait, Cold and Rapid or early game?
It's been going pretty heavily in their favor. So
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I thought Cold and Rapid were like top 5.
Get behind watching these guys try to carry
Yeah, Josh and Yams are
a
just
big
not doing
message to the rest of the world of what they're capable of. But for Cold and Rapid, don't have any time to think. Pablo and Chino are just immediately looking to pounce.
Yeah, and it's a scary situation because both of them are lacking some shields. That rocket launch with
Oh my god, Chino, chill out, bro.
Chino
Chino.
gets boxed up. He gets knocked down. 12-second timer for Cold has officially been started here. But I do believe Cold was able to kind of make his distance, but he's getting chased off. Cold is now under the hunt of Shark and Teeny. Remember that 12-second timer, I do think he bought more than enough time to get Rapid back, but Rapid still has to figure out a strategy of his own of how he's going to be able to get back down. Cole doing a good job of buying him more than enough time, but he himself realizes there's 2 players. It's Shark, it's Teeny. This might be too hot to handle.
And Cold, even he might be looking to take Shark down with him,
Damn,
but it's just
Shark.
not enough. Bolts instead, from a separate angle entirely, is
Damn,
going to
Cold and
deal
Rapid
the dirty
already
work for
dead.
Shark and Teeny here. Now Acorn and Bolts, though, recognizing the fact Teeny, Shark, maybe a little bit too much time expended on the hunt there for Cold. Shark Teeny, they're not ones to stray from a fight. Acorn and Bolts maybe reconsidering at the same time, though, Jacob. Acorn Bolts, they kind of need this one.
Yeah, and because of that, getting sandwiched between Acorn Bolts, Shark and Teeny, Cold and Rapid will be our first team eliminated out of this match. They hold that 10th place spot for now, but obviously, as the game continues, everybody will have a chance to overtake them. And I do like this decision. Shark and Teeny disengaging one way, Acorn Bolts going the other. They just finished a fight. They just cleaned up a whole nother team, so they don't want to take too many big risks too early.
Con and Faded, they were already starting to make their move. It's because of what they were able to clear up just before, finding that elimination onto Rapid. Definitely giving them some pretty big motivation. Anytime these players sniff even the slightest bit of weakness from a duo, from a player, or they see that reboot popping off after the elimination feed lights up, they're all ready and just too eager to try and wipe each other out. Shark and Teeny, from having once been on the prowl, they're gonna find themselves just forfeiting that aggressive front. Shark knows he's got to wait. Teeny will manage to make it back into this lobby, but Now he's at the mercy of what everyone else decides to do, and Sky, Scroll, they don't seem like they're done with him just yet.
Yeah, they heard the noise. It's about, are you going to go ahead and make the trip on over? And that one's answered instantly, but it's not just them. It's Chino and Pablo also rotating on over. Sky gets dropped down to just a sliver of HP. They do clean up the elimination onto Teeny just in time, because it's Sky who gets the siphon. Thanks to Scroll, he's staying alive that much longer here, and much needed because of Pablo and Chino were looking to take the fight, but as the dust settles, both teams looking to go their separate ways.
The way that Pablo and Chino are just going all out aggressive right now, Jacob, obviously they're sorely missing out on playing catch-up time after these first few lobbies just did not go in a more favorable direction for them, but you're looking at them going so crazy as if they're on the line of getting eliminated from the entire finals if this game isn't a win for them. Love to see them start to be much more proactive, though.
Seeing everybody else rotating in from the northeastern side of the map, trying to hold on to a little bit of elevation. Most of the zone is over open water, so we know we might have a cutback in our future, but Sky and Scroll still willing to get their hands dirty. Teeny respawning back in, and this is where the farm is looking to begin, but Teeny doing a good job. Great damage on the Sky, literally fighting for his life. Chance to stay alive, but Scroll reunites. They're both positioned well together against Teeny here. I don't see Shark anywhere in sight, so I'm not sure how much Teeny help he's gonna get.
Hey, but if you're gonna try and match up with Teeny, you best step correctly. Teeny, though, realizing might have taken a little bit too much time there trying to bail out. He'll be eliminated. Shark still lurking overhead, though he has managed to close some space.
Shark is gonna die to Storm if he doesn't get
from where that
siphoned.
action was taking place, but the problem is, out of the frying pan, straight into the fire, potentially, dealing with the likes of Kanata and Victor V now, who seemingly might have a little bit of an inkling that there is a player nearby, but don't know just how direct that notion is. And in fact, Victor V still watching his back, but they're not going to pursue it right now.
Yeah, at least not onto Shark, but right in front of them is Teeny as well, trying to hold down that launch pad. Hopefully the communication comes through, and you see in the minimap right there, above them is Chino and Pablo as well. The zone does cut back from Peerless Pier. Remember I mentioned most of the zone over open water, but I don't think it gets that much easier. You see on the north side of that zone, relatively even, flat land, but on the south side, that's when we got those mountain ranges coming into play.
Ooh.
Look, most players, when they get eliminated back-to-back sequences, you think that they'd want to just sit inside of the storm and take it easy, find those opportunities to loop back up and recover. But for Shark and Teeny, there's a method to the madness. They're still willing to go as aggressively as they can. And it's actually going to push Victor V and Kanata further away from them. Whether this is an intended outcome by Shark and Teeny, we'll have to wait and see. I really do think that they were hustling to get some eliminations for a refresh there, but the opportunity might have slipped them by.
Yeah, needed the resources, the materials,
Ezzy,
everything there,
not
not just the points
again.
itself. Izzy and Nosif, on the other hand, looking much better off. You see them find a med kit. They're stalling for time. They know the zone is opening up, and that's going to be a blessing in disguise. On the other side, Sky Jump, Momsy, our first place team so far in this competition. They're just going ahead and staggering back. They're buying all the time in the world, especially with the zone continuing to pull in their favor. Another north side zone.
I'm seeing Skyjump might even be smiling every time they look at that elimination feed early on, but you can't get too excited just yet. Even if a team is having these early game woes, that doesn't mean that they won't be able to turn things around, because how many times, Jacob, have we seen a team go through it, everything working against them in the early phases, and then one good refresh in that mid to end game, and all of a sudden they're right back in the action and potentially even able to take the victory royale.
I feel like this game right now is kind of slowing down. I think they realize reboots are about to turn off in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. We're already in the 6th zone. Even the ones that are outside trying to go ahead and out heal it. It is 2 tick up damage per second that you spend out there. So timing is definitely of the essence. But a north side zone pull, relatively flat ground outside of the hostile hold, of course. So if we continue kind of moving towards the west, this will be a good game, or at least a good chance for everybody here, no matter what they have in their inventory.
It makes sense, though, for these teams to want to play a bit more reserved. No one's really trying to be the first one out in the open, because nobody wants to be at the mercy of the lobby focus. And they can just position on these little elevation shifts, the halfway points of the cliff faces, using some of that natural coverage to instead preserve a lot of their build material, but Skrull won't be able to get out of the line of sight. Cammy's gonna get the credit for it, but Peterbot and Poyo were definitely looking his way. It's a pretty tough blow for Sky and Skrull to suffer at this stage, but Sky, he's just gotta muster up the willpower to stay on his own 2 feet here, because Skrull might be back in the action, but that doesn't mean that he's out of the clear just
died?
yet.
Yeah, just kind of having to drop in from
Okay, Cold, Rapid dead.
is down as well. No chance for him to reboot back into this game. They have officially
also
turned off. So
dead.
now all the pressure is going to be on the Shark. He only has 26 builds, 1 med kit, no extra shields, and then 1 shockwave on top of that.
Yeah, Shark
Just
is
thinking
cooked.
back to that one opportunity that they had briefly against Kanata and Victor B that they weren't able to truly capitalize on, but faded. Yoinkin bolts his elimination credit. Shark now realizing that lobby is headed straight for him, but fortunately he'll still be able to put up the facade that he's strong enough to push back against this lobby pressure. Hari and Cammy, though, actually are standing tall as a duo currently. I'm just waiting to see where their next play is going to be at. Shark managing to pick up a little loot pile along the way. That is a huge saving grace.
Yep, it's keeping him alive. The shields, extra
Shark is
med
just
kits
getting
just in case,
fully
but the build's
bleed.
still lacking. It's all about
Shark is
staying,
cooked
trying to get
on.
some points for your efforts. 0 eliminations so far. Uncharacteristic like from a team just like that. Very, very similar here. Poyo with that 1 elimination. Got to imagine it was on Skrull or Sky before the reboots even turned off. So they're back into the game. No worries there. But they're headhunting. They're looking for any player on these rotations that are making mistakes that they can capitalize on.
All I know is that anytime you see Peterbot and Poyo light up with even 1 Victory Royale, that seems to be the catalyst every single time for that duo. And a lot of this, too, when it comes down to a LAN finals, Jacob, you're really just trying to simulate that home environment. How many times have we seen Peterbot's friends and family encouraging him, and Faxley himself even constantly wanting to remind Pete, you just need to play like you're at home. You don't have anything to prove. You're already the greatest Fortnite player of all time, so you just need to fly out there. And it's those kinds of encouraging moments that I think can really make the difference for these teams.
2 solos running around this lobby inside of the top 18. This is one of them. And you can see so many players cutting off the path. As Peterbot and Poyo get ready for their next rotation. They don't want to be too quick to the punch, make a mistake that they'll regret throughout the course of this game. As Shark looks towards his left. Weak ball. Vico Malibuca not really ready to take that action just yet. Sky and Skrull as well, looking for any opportunity. Zone is pushing players further towards the north, but it's not up the mountain just yet.
The minigame battle for height is about to kick off here, though, knowing that Shark and Teeny are just not going to really be too big of a participant, because Shark by his lonesome challenging Swizzy and Pixie is going to be a problem here, but Momsy and Skyjump, an issue entirely of themselves in the low ground. Pete and Poyo, all these differing layers, Jacob, just starting to get very messy.
Yeah, especially if you don't really have a sense of what's going down on each one of those layers. The Shark finally runs out of his material. Zone actually opens up in his favor. A blessing in disguise for Shark as he goes right back to the cone. It is going to be wood. Relatively easy to see through, but let's see what tricks Shark has up his sleeve.
When everybody is just scrambling over each other, though, that's where the opportunity to strike could really present itself here. Shark even feeling like he might
Holy
be able
fuck,
to play
Peter about
through
to
a
chill.
little bit of healing methods here, but Pete, Poyo, they've decided to make their way up. It's all about whether or not Peterbot can actually take down Pixie. Instead, he'll opt to just prioritize high ground control, but they know it's only a matter of seconds before Swizzy and Pixie potentially look to chop him out and re-challenge, but Pixie paying the ultimate price
Josh
on
dead,
his way
Victor
down.
V dead.
Shots from above, they make sure to hit every single point of damage, even without the actual knock, to make sure they see some sort of success. Hari and Cammy underneath, but they're on a mid layer, trying to make sure to clear it out. Peterbot, Poyo finally get their high ground overtaken. They are burning through material.
Dead
they're
by
burning through
Vico.
their resources as well. Sky and
Wow,
Skrull
Skrull
have
dead,
officially
Sky
been eliminated out of this game. 16 place taco, no placement for them.
But how far
Kanata
can Falcons,
dead.
Peterbot and Poyo truly fly? Aurora, Shark
Pablo
also
Wingle. Yo, Shark
trying
is
to make
actually
sure
going
that
crazy
he
with the
can
solo
fill
clutch.
as many placement
Holy
points.
fuck.
Is he nearly falling? But Shark won't be
Where's
able
he
to
dead?
finish it off. He's still got to keep trying to find different opportunities, and they are just running
Peter
ever
and Pollo
so
have the
thin
high
here
ground
because
again.
Pete and Pollo are just forcing
Darm
everybody
and
to hide.
no, only Darm dead. Is he dead? Shark, no. Babbling goals.
Elimination onto Shark, but it's not without sacrifice. Izzy has gone down.
Strange
a few
Demas.
solos left in this game, and NoSip is feeling the pressure of being one of those few. But luckily for him, he spots a bit of loot outside of the zone, sacrificing a little bit more HP to make sure he grabs it for himself. But Peterbot and Pollo, or I say just Peterbot now, still battling out for the high ground, but he doesn't have material. He has to concede.
And the drop down. He might be able to snag an elimination on his exit, but Vico Malabuka, that's exactly who he might have to fare with next. They've actually done a great job at holding on to that low side control. Granted, they fully understand they're going to need to start making their way up. They're going to need to start finding more eliminations, but Faded and Khan cutting Peach short in his tracks.
Oh my, Momsy! Fourth elimination, and when he needs it most, getting the siphon, getting the shield, able to use the medkit to buy him.
Malabuka and Vico on high? Oh,
Malabuka, Vico, they did not get the memo, and they send them right back to where they came.
Vico's trying to take out Pixie
Malabuka dead.
Yes, it's just taking
Vico
out
playing
chunks of
medkits.
HP. He will be able to play the medkit temporarily. Mini Pio also still kicking, but look at what Momsy's been able to accomplish. 4 eliminations, Cammy and Hari sitting on 5, but they're still not done. They're hunting down these last couple of opponents here in this ultimate low ground, looking back, just waiting for the moment to strike.
And this is that moment. They're the only duo left in this game, but one of the solos is Momsy. We know what type of run he's been on so far, and he's bobbing and weaving, dodging all he can until eventually Hari takes him out. But now it's all solos. Cammy has fallen, so it's anybody's opportunity.
And Vico,
I think
nobody realizes where he's at, but how much HP does he really have
Vico.
to work with? Doesn't have any builds.
I mean, yes, Vico, come on.
The siphon materials.
No, Vico.
Waiting to close this one up. Salvador not going to be able to connect. Vico hoping, but it's a dodge every which way angle, and Salva winning it outright for the Middle East.
They finally pick it back up. They qualified through the survival stage. They made their mark here at the match point finals by picking up that victory royale and starting to boost this confidence, because if anybody thought this was going to be a quick few games, we crown the champion, we move on, you were wrong. This is a marathon of Fortnite.
Vico definitely seeming very pleased with himself, though, for at least securing that second place position, but I am just in disbelief. Yacid and Salva, for what it's worth, Jacob, they just psychoed hype, and it worked out. They did not have healthy HP. I believe Yacid only had like
Vico's emoting IRL, bro.
Also, no shield whatsoever, down to about half of his white health too. And the fact of the matter is, they just took it by force.
They really did, man. And
Vico's
honestly,
happy,
look at
bro.
their faces. They're not celebrating as much as Vico and Malabuka. I might have to challenge Vico to a dance-off, but this is the moment right here. Vico literally falling under the radar. He had 5 eliminations. Mini Pio there went down. That stopped him from eventually picking up the material in time. But as you see, Salvatore dropped down, got a little bit of an advantage because Vico didn't know where he was coming from. And since then, he already had the pressure and made that finish off strong. Yassine and Salvatore putting their region on the map here in finals.
Right, and for Vika too, back against the wall, just impressive stuff to really hold his own in those last couple of moments. But what I'm really starting to notice is how aggressive so many of our teams are starting to get in this early game action. While we're not witnessing necessarily the full elimination removals of a duo, it's just that constant tension, because the moment one player falls, they are just stuck in that reboot.
Yeah, both are in corn and not feeling good,
zones,
bro.
and by then, how do you recover? That was the problem for Shark and Teeny.
Yeah, they kind of were just stuck on the outskirts for so long, and they weren't really able to loot up. And we talked about that opportunity where Kanata and Victor V were kind of rotating on by. Maybe they wanted to take the fight, but with Chino and Pablo there as well, it was just a little bit too messy. And those are the little opportunities that you kind of look at. You always kind of think the big moments, missing a shot, but that was not going to be the case. But we have one of the best teams, the fan favorites, ready for you guys on the side.
Skyjump and Momsy currently sitting atop of the leaderboard. Still plenty of action to come. Momsy how does this lobby feel in comparison to the group stage?
Si tu compares un petit peu au group stage, comment est-ce que c'est le niveau de ce lobby là actuellement?
Je m'attendais à un niveau quand même un petit peu plus élevé.
I was waiting for a little bit better than this.
Finalement, pour le moment, ça se passe bien. On espère continuer sur cette lancée et au final soulever le trophée. Hein.
Yeah, so for now we are doing good and it's kind of more easy than what we thought. So we hope we're gonna do the same and we got at the end just leave the trophy.
Alright, looks like I'm 1v1ing someone, so I'm gonna have to end stream real quick.